Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Lovac Podcast. I'm sitting... that's actually looking pretty good. I'm kind of pissed right now.
I think we should call our podcast something else. I know this isn't something to do on the air.
I was gonna say, right now?
Yeah.
What should we rename it to?
Hello, welcome to Lovac Sleepy Time Junction. I'm your host.
I don't know, like...
How are you guys doing tonight?
We
Any
brought some nice candy. It's very good.
I'm gonna put it in your ear real quick.
Listen to that candy.
Snack times.
Bad ear feel right now.
Just call it snack time.
Welcome to Snack
Snack time and bad ear feel.
I don't know.
Uh,
Bonus points if someone's eating a snack during the whole thing.
yeah. You get bonus Lovac ham dollars.
I'll be right back.
We have some.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Lovac Home...
The snack we have today is...
It's like
It's like a...
Korean Cheetos.
Korean Sriracha Cheetos. That is our snack time for snack time today.
Thank you for joining us for snack time. That's all the time we have for today.
We also have squid jerky, peanut mochi.
Which I destroyed.
Peanut mochi?
Yeah, peanut mochi. Can you read?
Not this!
Peanut butter.
About
I wish
it.
I could have tried that.
It was pretty good.
And green tea mochi. It's our snack for snack time.
Which is
Miso's
never.
sad. I hear him outside.
Then let him in.
Let Miso in. Welcome to the Lovac Podcast, Miso.
Miso's not outside. You lied to me. I heard him.
Oh.
You lied to me. We'll just leave that.
Under this
Let's
bed.
leave that sort
It's
of...
probably under the
probably
bed.
here. Under the bed.
I'm already
I'm
here.
already here.
Alright.
Oh man, okay, I don't know when we're actually starting the podcast and how much of this is a cold open, but...
No, this
all
is
of it.
Welcome.
All of it.
I
all of it.
actually 100% mean it when I say that I want our podcast to be called Snack Time.
Alright.
Go back to next time.
Because 99.99% of
Somebody's
the time,
eating.
some idiot is fucking eating into the mic.
So... Me too. But yeah, welcome to Lovac Podcast. I'm Connor, as always, with the Pichu aesthetic, and if we'd like to go around in a circle, I don't care which way.
I'm Justin, and I've been 24 months sober.
From
That
the...
wasn't funny, Justin. Alcoholism is very serious.
Burgerism is a real serious
Burger,
thing.
you shut up! I don't have a problem.
Gotta stop eating those boigas. Our cat just tried to get in. You smacked him in the head. With
Did- Do you know this for a fact? Is he there?
He was.
He was. He's dead now.
Yeah.
He has a concussion.
Yeah. Go.
Am I allowed to be the ghost host, or is Disney gonna snipe me eventually?
I mean, you haven't been
Do you
killed
have-
yet.
Do you have the ghost host voice?
Does it sound like I got the ghost host voice?
Then I think you're good.
No, I'm the guy.
You want to be the guy?
I'm the guy
Are you?
from Spy Kids 3D.
Oh, what's his name?
Dude, Elijah Wood.
Elijah Wood, thank you.
Word.
You really want to be the guy?
Oh,
Stuber,
We
did
got
we
one
ever
more.
give you a title, or are you just the guy with the voice?
Lucifer.
Lucifer Stushu Overlord right here. Reporting to you live from the Lovac
yeah.
Podcast.
Get nice and close for that authenticity.
Welcome to Lovac Snack Time.
I don't like that I can hear you
I'm-
I don't
sweating.
like that either.
I'm as far away as I can possibly be from you, and I can still hear the smacking.
You could never escape bad ear feel.
God.
I don't like this return. There's been a lot of smacking.
There's been a lot of smacking, a lot of snacking. We're going.
Canceling Lovac snack time. We'll bring back Lovac snack time another day.
Yeah. Can't take it anymore. We
will
gotta
make
go.
I will make a banner for this fucking podcast if it's called Lovac Snack Time. I
Sure, go
swear
for
to
it.
Fuck.
If you actually,
Connor's like,
if you
I
do
read-
it, I'll name it
Yeah,
snack time.
Connor's like, I don't have to make assets? Hell yeah.
Yeah.
We'll remember this moment as the moment that it was set in stone. Lovac Snack Time.
Lovac Podcast has officially been changed to Lovac
No, watch
Snack Time.
it. We name it Lovac Snack Time now, and then nobody ever eats during Lovac Snack
Yeah.
Time. ever again.
That's
They're all gonna be
Say-
fucking grossed out by the constant
No,
lip
I made
noise.
this name, so I'm going to bring a snack every time. And
You'll
I'm gonna
bring
say
it,
what-
you won't eat it though.
Yeah, of course, but I'm gonna say what the snack is.
Today's snack of the day is.
Yeah.
Today's snack of the day is
I will-
water.
Next time it's gonna be strawberry shortcake. Just you wait.
I'll be down for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw some when we went to the global market earlier today. And I was like, do I have the energy to put strawberries into a pre-made sponge cake?
Yeah.
Maybe.
I was gonna say that was a really sad, tragic thing that happened back when you first move in. Is we get like sponge cake stuff, and then we found it all a year later,
Yeah.
and you're like, oh, we could have had.
I still have trouble with that. I wish there was like an app for reminding you when you're. Yes, miso.
Miso is
He's so
is
sad.
agony.
But the
Hey.
door's open. He can come in.
He's so
Uh,
alone.
Did you maybe by
He feels
chance lock him
rejected.
in your room?
Well, it may have happened whenever
Hold
you
on.
knocked him in the head.
I haven't been about
I was gonna say one of us
Knock
should probably
him in
go
the head.
check.
You guys act like
When
I'm
you-
some sort of
when you-
animal cruelty.
when you punched him in the head.
Yeah. I met eyes with him, and he's just like,
You guys are here.
"What's wrong, buddy? Come here. Come here and say hello. Come here. Come here. Come here."
Wow, I hope the microphone's picking up on me so screaming in the distance.
If it wasn't before, it's going to now.
Oh, Miso.
Oh,
Here
hey,
he is.
Miso.
Hi, bud.
So, do you have anything to say to our lovely fans? Anything at all?
Purr, purr.
Right up to the mic.
It's just
right?
like, put me down.
It's okay, little boy.
He's like, what's this glowy thing in the middle of it? Why are you all sitting around it? I'm scared.
Please
Did you
don't
have a nightmare or
sacrifice
something,
me.
buddy?
Was there something wrong, buddy? Were you just mad that we were all in here not
lonely.
giving you attention?
He was
Probably.
He's mad.
He's gonna go under the bed
He
now.
might go under the bed.
He's definitely going under the bed.
He's thinking about it.
Alright, so I think I should probably state, we've had a couple of videos this past few months, mostly comic dubs, that have been
And
really
now we're going to
exciting.
list all of them,
And
one
we're
right
listing
after the other.
One right after the other.
Please
No.
have mercy.
No. This week's rundown of the week, we had the Lovac podcast, which you're listening to. Or, I'm sorry, we got Lovac Snack Time happening right now.
Yeah.
And then we also had the Isabel comic. Fuck, man.
Can
Turning
we-
over a new leaf. I had it.
Can we just, I just put a state out here down now. Can we, anytime we say Lovac podcast, can we just bleep it out?
We can't get copyright by ourselves.
Yeah.
Did knowledge.
It's a retcon
The
now.
old
It can't
words
exist.
have been
Yeah.
decided.
I'm gonna go back through all the previous podcasts and like use YouTube censorship
Don't lie to
function.
yourself.
Yeah, no. God, no. Oh, man. But yeah, so we've been having a couple of comic dubs these past few weeks, and it's been really exciting because we've kind of been getting back to form, as you can tell by this coming out. And by this coming out, I mean Lovac Snack Time. Welcome to the party. That's gonna be the tagline now. Welcome to the party.
Welcome to really.
Yeah.
I was like, really?
I'm sorry. Here, let me.
Forget, I'm the one that's gonna be making the new band.
Welcome to Lovac Snack Time. If you lived here, you'd be home by now. Oh man. For context, there's a
Lovac
neighborhood that says that.
Lovac snack time. It's better than starving.
This is true.
I mean, that's true, yeah.
Lovac snack time. Been here around. Got here before Animal Crossing Switch.
Lovac Snack Time. Established 2019.
Lovac snack time. Expiration date unknown.
Lovac snack time. The cores are back and they are ugly.
Lovac Snack Time. It's good on bread and also wheat toast.
Lovac snack time. Salmonella doesn't kill everyone.
Is that one true? Or are you just feeding lies to the masses?
Lovac Snack Time. Home of horny goat weed. Which is still the best thing we saw at Global Market today. And I will fight all of you on that. God, that was amazing. We saw... what was it, a sauce or something? Yeah, I'm
What are
I'm
you
looking for it now.
talking about?
No, there was like a spice or some kind of sauce at the very beginning when we started walking around.
I know we found pickled
Global
garlic
Market.
and we like argued on what the fuck that could be used for.
Oh yeah, pickled Oh, that's so weird.
With the shell on and everything. Sounds nice.
Maybe you just eat them like pickles.
Oh god.
Oh no, that's right. It was a triple leaf tea, and it like each of them state something underneath it, like cold and flu time, cholesterol, blood pressure, and then one of them at the very end was horny goat weed, and I'm like, okay. For those of you who have that problem.
That's true.
God, I hate when my goat weed gets turned
Sound
on.
like
Oh God. So we've been gone for far too long, by the way. We haven't had a podcast since the holiday cast.
Can I continue our subject of the world market?
Yeah, sure, go for it.
It's like, okay, to explain it, if it wasn't already in the name, it's like a magical fucking land where they imported a bunch of shit that American stores aren't usually allowed to have,
Yeah.
including like ramen that's too fucking hot to function, or just like meat. I feel like I really love going there, but I love looking at shit and pronouncing things wrong. I don't think I ever buy more than 2 items there.
Yeah, same.
Like, Stu went and he bought like half the store, but I went and
I bought 4 things.
Yeah, I went and I got a teapot and some bread.
I mean, I usually just get there to snack, like to stock up on like snacks that like I like that I usually only get like when I go to conventions.
Yeah, I was gonna say last time I was there, I was like, ooh, Pocky.
Yeah, it's like
That was
Pocky
it.
and mochi and
Yeah, but
melon
that's
soda and
But a lot of that stuff lasts a really long time, so even if you don't like have it right away, last time I went actual shopping there, it was for miso, and that shit like lasts for like 2 years.
Yeah.
You're not gonna have to shop for that shit for like ever.
And I know I ended up getting like a candy whistle, and I can't remember what they were called, like back when America had them, because I have never seen one since I was like 7. But I just saw a fucking like whistle. I wish I had the wrapper with me, but it was like one of those fucking candy whistles where like the whole thing is made out of candy, but you can blow into it, and it's a little slide whistle.
A little toot sweet.
Yeah, a little sweet toot.
Quickly, rapido. Toot sweet.
But yeah, it's been a big day for us because we went to. Well, you mentioned it. We went to
Good day for
Global
you. I
Market.
stayed here because I was tired from work.
Yeah. We went out to eat earlier, and then Stu got like really like spicy shit from the Thai place we went to, and we were like, spicy curry, yeah.
Curry.
And we were like, you know what else is spicy? Super fucking spicy ramen from the Global Market way down the road. We were like, let's fucking go there.
You guys didn't buy any?
Nah.
Yeah.
Students seem interested, and I'm not gonna.
I would
Yeah.
if we all agreed to do it, I'll say it right
I
here.
can't do it.
If we all well, you excluded because you have gastritis, so I'm cool with that. But if at least one other person agreed to do it, I would do it for a Lovac video.
Oh,
like
same.
on camera.
Cool.
I feel like
We got the 2 of you, because, man, I'm going to fucking die if I eat anything
I
beyond
might die
spice.
too, but man, it'll be funny as shit.
Oh, it'll be absolutely hilarious.
Meanwhile, Stu will
See what we
probably
can
buy
do.
into it. He's like, "This is great. Can I have more?"
Dude, the lady who was serving us at the Thai place, like,
Like,
was
just wipe
astounded
away.
that like he
that
like,
he
was just
came in,
fine.
he just ate the whole thing. And she was like, I can't believe you're not dead.
No, really, we poisoned him.
Yeah.
You tried.
You tried.
I guess he's
Tried.
probably just used to like people be like, yeah, I can handle it.
spicy.
And then like 2 seconds later, I want to take it back. I don't like it.
Can I get like
Too
14
spicy.
glasses of water?
God.
Need some milk?
Yeah, I was going to say, you guys got any milk? I could use some milk right now.
I'm sweating out of my mouth.
Yeah. I'm sweating out of everything right now. I could really use it. Oh, man. But, yeah, so it's been a fucking amazing day.
Pretty good day.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to say, yesterday wasn't all too bad either, because we've been getting back into Pokemon Go as well.
Oh yeah.
And so, Justin, Allie, and I, we didn't invite you, Stu, and I'm sorry.
That's all good.
I mean, technically we were like, hey, come on down, and then like it like got later and later, and you're like, yeah, you guys still up for hanging out? And then hours and hours passed, and I was like, shit, yeah, we're down for hanging out.
They have Missourian goodbyes where you basically stand in the doorway for like 2 hours saying goodbye. And
Yeah,
they
you
just
just, they just keep talking.
I'm like that, but actually, like in the process of leaving somewhere, I'm bad about that.
No, yeah.
I'm like, yeah, I'll be there in like 5 minutes, bro. 2 hours pass. Fuck, I'm just heading out the door.
Yeah. No, but that's the worst part, is because, like, it wasn't even that. It was like, we messaged you, and like an hour passed, and you were like, yeah, sure, I'm down. You guys still up for it? And then like 2 hours passed, and I was like, yeah, we're still fuck. But yeah, we found fucking Allie and I got shiny chikorritas, which was fucking amazing.
I didn't. I was sad.
Yeah, Justin got real depressed.
I cried a little.
Went down, took down some gyms. Fucking 5 hours later, we got our Pokemon back from those gyms. It's a great time. But yeah, no, Pokemon Go's been amazing, especially now that we've been getting back into it, and especially since the weather's been getting fucking warmer finally.
Yeah, I mean, we all live out here in the Midwest, and it has been just stupid. Like, as it stayed cold for a ridiculously long amount of time, and then after it finally started warming up, then it rained for like a week solid.
Mm.
And it faked us out again. We started going back to the cold
Then it
shit.
started going cold, and we thought it was going to go back cold again. Now, I think we finally have stabilized, and we're starting to get like decent weather.
And now we have news that there's a bomb cyclone headed towards us, which is supposed to drop temperatures back down again. So I really don't know what the weather's planning on doing.
Yeah, we've got some crazy stuff going on over here in the Midwest right now.
Anybody who lives in the Midwest will tell you this is just how Midwestern weather works. Is like, you don't follow the weatherman, because 5 minutes later it's gonna be wrong.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, I checked my phone literally yesterday about the weather. It was like, tomorrow's going to be nice. And then it started raining like
Overcast and
5
started
seconds
raining.
ago. Yeah. Oh my god. I think I should also mention, this is going to be a little bit off topic, because I just realized that today, the day that this is going to be released, is 4/13. And that's the whole reason why, like, we thought about doing the podcast again. Because it's like, oh, hey, Homestuck Day. You guys ready? So, you guys ready for Homestuck Day?
What's Homestuck?
Yeah, what's Homestead?
It's where I get to hit you guys in the face with green pies. That's...
You forget. I'm the only guy here who got hired on for a Homestuck role and never performed it.
Yeah.
What's Homestuck?
One day we'll find a Solix Captor comic. I
doubt
swear.
it. I fucking doubt it.
Panty raid.
The Panty Raid. Oh
I
god.
remember recording for that one, and then it disappeared.
There's a couple of comics that do that, where it's like, yeah, we recorded
Well,
for it,
I
and then-
recorded that one before you took over as the boss.
that makes sense then.
Yeah.
Ugh.
And it never resurfaced.
Yeah, no, I don't know what happened. I guess it must
That
have...
one wasn't under my jurisdiction, so I don't fucking know.
No, I'm not sure who is in charge of it. I just remember recording lines for it.
I was gonna say, back in the days before New Lovac, like, shit was kind of a scramble.
Yeah.
Like, it was kind of cool because, like, every comic dub was made by someone else back on old Lovac. Like, I remember making, like, 2 or 3 of the comic dubs out of the, like, 15, 16 that there were on old Lovac. But then, yeah, no, after the resurgence, I'm like, yeah, sure, I'll just edit everything. Let's go. That was not the best move on my part. But I digress. We'll go ahead and move on from Lovac. Happy 4/13, everybody. It's been
1 week.
1 week.
Since you looked at me.
I'm like 29 years, I want to say.
358 over 2 days.
Has
I don't
it
fucking know.
has it been 9 years since Homestuck? I think
Ended
2010,
or
wasn't it?
began, because 10 years since it began.
Since it began, yeah. 10 years?
Yeah.
It began in 2009?
Yeah.
Jesus H. Christ.
Just as I was finishing high school.
Just as I was starting it. Christ, you're old.
Maybe you're just too fucking young.
Oh,
Sorry, guys.
You
my-
should be.
What are
It's
you
just my-
apologizing to
just-
me for?
just-
I'm saying you should do
yeah.
I was just apologizing to our listeners.
Oh, Jesus
Just had a
Christ.
birthday, and I'm starting to feel a midlife crisis coming
Yeah.
up.
I was gonna say, that's like the weirdest thing about, like, now we're in like upper 20s, like Allie and I are officially over the gap of 25, and now we're all
Yeah, like
getting closer.
It's so weird because like that was something I was thinking about when my birthday hit. Is like I was just thinking about stuff that like had progressed for me, and I was like, I started voice acting when I was a teenager. Like
yeah, right.
like I was literally a teenager, and now like I'm 28, like I'm pushing 30, and I'm still doing this stuff. It's like it's one of the few things that I've picked up as a hobby and have stuck with, like
Yeah, right.
because that was all like I've always been a creative person, but every sort of other creative outlet that I've tried to do, I've either had difficulty and either maintaining, trying to learn that hobby or get better at it, or I eventually just lost interest, or both. But like this is the one thing that it's just like has stuck with me.
Oh, I completely feel that. Back in basically when Homestuck was starting, like in 2011. Well, not when it was starting. 2011 was when I started getting into it.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, yeah, I can do this voice acting thing. And so it's really weird, like, oh man, the years have gone by, and from 17 to 25 now. Almost.
I kind of went. This is a little impromptu, but I saw this on Twitter today because I saw a couple of bigger voice actors doing it, particularly Xander Mobus. It was talking about the first thing, the first project you were cast in.
Oh boy.
Oh.
Oh.
And whether or not it was like it actually came to fruition or not, like just the first thing you ever got cast in.
I like that.
I think mine's still up on YouTube. I think.
What was it?
It was an old Transformers CGI short that I was a part of.
Really?
Yeah. The guy went to.
You were just doing fancy things all the way from the start, weren't you?
I got lucky because I was one of the few people in that fan. Back in the day, it was great, and it still is great now because that community has such a tight niche on how many voice actors they have allocated without the fan base.
Mm-hmm.
But nowadays, we're getting a lot more people, and so there's a lot more talent up for grabs, basically,
Mm-hmm.
which is really nice.
Conversely wise, too, that's also a franchise that's character based is also almost constantly expanding as far as like comics and other media are concerned. So it's like even though as more people are getting into trying to do voiceover for it, you also are getting more roles that are available too.
Yeah.
Especially characters that like are in the comics that don't have a canon voice yet.
Yeah.
So you've got a lot of interpretation there.
It's great.
But for me personally, this was back when the what was it? The Voice Acting Club website, the original one.
Yeah.
Back on, I think it was on Pro Boards or something like that.
Yeah, I remember that.
Was still around, and they've since revamped it and whatnot. Even most of the original staff, even Kira Buckland, who founded the original one, is still on there and still helps manage it from time to time. But it was my first thing that I got cast in was supposed to be an RPG Maker spin-off of Kingdom Hearts, utilizing other franchises that were not part of, mostly video game franchises. And I remember getting casted for Sonic the Hedgehog and Solid Snake. This was literally I was probably 15 at the time.
Oh damn!
So
Jesus.
I got into wanting to do voice acting very quickly because I was always intrigued about it. My mom saw that I had an interest about it. Her friend heard about a workshop that was being held at one of the local colleges here from a local voice acting talent who I paid to go to it and everything like that. I saved up money to go to it, and we did a whole thing. And he said that like he thought I had potential, and so he told me that if I really wanted to do it, keep going for it. I see that now that was probably just him being nice to me because I was 15, but I still took it to heart. But so shortly after that, I saved up birthday money and Christmas money, and I bought the microphone that you're currently speaking into right now. And I've taken good care of it. It's a USB condenser microphone, but it works.
Oh yeah, sounds super good.
Good old Audio Technica 2020.
Mm-hmm. But I never stopped since then. But that was the first thing I auditioned for, and it eventually went nowhere because the guy casted everybody and then promptly disappeared off the face of the earth. But that was the first little thing is that it was a project that had built up steam. So tons of people were auditioning for it, and I was like, oh hey, I actually got casted for something.
Right.
Cast. That's another thing that was going around with voiceover artists on Twitter today is the past tense of casting someone cast or casted. And apparently both of them are correct, but
Fish or fishes.
yeah.
Is it fish? Is it Pikachu or Pikachu's?
Pikachu.
Pikachu. What about you, Al?
Big brain moment.
What was the first thing you got you auditioned for and got casted in?
I used to be a vocally cover artist, so I usually did vocally YouTube choir stuff.
Really?
Really?
Yeah.
You remember what the first thing was, or?
I know I did Saihate with some dude. I was 12, so I can't remember a lot of stuff. Fuck.
I was gonna say 12's really young, but then I
Yeah,
remembered
12 is
that.
really young.
I remember that I started Pichu Bro 1 back when I was 12, so fuck man. Teach their own.
Butterfly on Your Right Shoulder was a popular one. I know
Oh, right.
different people tried doing auditions for that. So many people wanted to do that one. But I think I only got into Saihate and Melt.
Oh shit, you know if those are still up somewhere? Or
Probably not.
Probably not.
Hopefully that was part of the copyright.
Oh.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Back in 2013.
Oh god.
I know for sure my stuff's gone. But I don't really mind that because I could not sing.
I don't say that much, but I also don't.
You don't know 12-year-old me.
You don't know.
That's true. I couldn't sing back in the day either. I mean, it's arguable whether or not I can sing now, but
I know you can sing. But I think
I do what I can.
I do think you have a very stylized voice.
Yeah.
You have
That's from years and years of
you have
experimenting.
a very certain key that you have, a very certain range that you can sing in and sing in well. Because I've heard you sing something goofily before.
Oh yeah.
But I've also heard you sing. And I've heard, like I said, I've listened to some of your old stuff. Back when you were posting up your older stuff, back when Lovek was still fairly new.
God, terrifying.
Yeah, I know, right? I remember that this is not, like I said, this is not me being rude. This is just me being critiquing.
I was gonna say the real question is: you listen to my stuff or you listen to the stuff I sang as Gamzee? Because those are two really
Both,
different.
actually. But that was, that was the
Bring
thing.
it
I
back.
could tell that you were as someone who was forced to learn how to sing in a private religious school. I could tell that you were experimenting a little bit, and so there were some that were definitely outside of your vocal comfort zone.
Oh yeah.
But then there were ones that when you got into a certain range, you nailed it. And yeah, and I've definitely seen that with some of the stuff you've done more recently. But
hopefully more on spot than off.
yeah, on spot, yeah.
Cool.
I still get daily requests for a full version of Don't Stop Believing.
Oh my God.
Helps any.
I think the most criminally underappreciated piece of voice work you've ever done is the Gooby comic where he takes his own hat.
Nobody
Oh,
cares
for
about
Stu.
that.
I
Yeah.
don't know why. It's the best thing you've ever.
I posted
fucking
it up,
done.
and then everybody just kind of it's the same thing.
That's such bullshit.
I'm gonna
I think we should. I think
I'm gonna go back and
we should
replug that
clarify-
until I
I think we
die.
should clarify though that it is not him voicing the Gooby comic specifically. It is him doing a very morose narration and explanation of what is going on in the Gooby comic.
Oh man, did you? Was that just an audio post
It
or?
was just an audio shit
with
post on Tumblr.
the picture on it.
I'm almost tempted. Maybe what we should really do for an April Fool's joke is just voice the comic, and then at the end you'll just go through the whole thing and explain why it was funny. But I guess speaking of singing in Homestuck, I auditioned for a lot of shit when I was younger, and was never cast in any of it that I can recall. I maybe there was like a Smash Machinima or two when I was still Pichu Bro 1 that like I was like, yeah, this kid's fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
He's got a shitty ass rock band microphone, but he'll do. But one of the very first things that I remember, and I think the video is still up to this day, but I got casted in like a Homestuck singing group, and that was like my first interaction with the Homestuck community as a whole. And they were like, we love, well, you're sober, Gamzee, for one thing. They were like, yeah, you're sober, Gamzee, end of story. And I was like, what about regular Gamzee? They're like, 2 other people got that, so never mind. And,
2 other people?
Yeah, we had 2 Gamzees.
What?
Yeah. One for comedy songs, one for serious songs. And then I was there for sober Gamzee.
Yes, but like, did they sound even remotely alike?
I
didn't
could go back and see the video and see if they did or not.
Mhm.
But then I was also casted as John Egbert, which was pretty dope, and I actually recorded a song for them that went up. But I feel like the kicker to this story is that Nate was accepted into the group too,
Oh,
and he
really?
was as Equius.
As Equius?
Yeah.
That's who you
did
used.
Equius.
Yeah, that's who you used to voice in Low Back.
No.
No?
No, that was
that was
Paul.
Kev?
that was Paul.
Paul.
Yeah.
Yeah, Omnipresent
God, it's
Fool.
been so long.
God, so many people, like, we lost so many people during the train.
We lost so many.
They got snapped out of existence.
Jeez, you made it sound terrible.
Well, and it's like in the sense of that, like when like the transition from the previous leader of Lovac into Connor taking over was
I was the previous leader of Lola.
well the original leader of Lovac
Yeah.
into ultimately going into Connor being in charge was by far not a smooth transition. And unfortunately, because of certain circumstances that were beyond our control, we lost contact with a lot of people for a long time. Paul, I'm trying to think of who else like Kevin for a really long time. Like Kevin found us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Kevin's like, hey, it's you guys again. We're like, oh my god.
yeah,
hey.
that was the thing. Is like Kevin found us. I really think pretty much the only people that we had at the time were the 4 of us, Nate.
Snake's just always chilling out.
Yeah, and that was it. I think for the most part, we had other people who were there, but they hadn't made a presence yet. It wasn't until after Connor started taking the reins on things that we pulled in, like a talent that was already there that had just kind of been lying dormant.
Yeah.
And
Well, I know Lovac itself has gone through some crazy shenanigans. Like, looking back, I've looked through a lot of, like, past dialogue. I think I took notes back in, like, 2014 of, like, everything that happened before. For some reason, Microsoft was like, we're going to update Skype and make everyone delete all their histories, period. And I was like, that was dumb, but okay, whatever.
oh yeah, when Microsoft bought it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it just completely erased everything, and now you can't go back at all. But back before that happened, I ended up looking back through Lovac, and it is fucking crazy to see like Lovac in its heyday, because there was almost like an A and B team, consisting of like the A team was like all the people we know and we see now, which was, Daniel, Kevin, us, like Doodle was there, like all that fun shit. But then there was like this whole B team of people that I don't even remember the names of. And like, I was clearly interacting with them at the time because I saw myself pop up and I was like, hey, whatever your name is. I wanted to say Steph, but that's not the name that like, that's already a name that's connected to someone else that like did stuff for Lovac, so I didn't want to say that. But point is, I was like, oh shit, hey dude, how's it going? How are you? I'm like, I know these people and I don't now and I feel bad.
Yeah, one of the there were a lot of things that we missed out on because of some of the rocky parts of training. I remember there was one point that when we part of the things that happened is that when we when the original owner of Lovac stepped down, we lost contact with them. And they had access to all of the Lovac accounts, most particularly the YouTube account.
I was gonna say, are you gonna explain the origin story of New Lovac?
Yeah. So we were all scrambling to try to find a way. We were trying to multiple persons and try to make contact with this person again, and to very little avail. And I think it was by we tried to do a password reset, and I think it was out of sheer luck that I don't remember who it was, but one of us remembered it from helping them out with some stuff, I believe, just out of the blue. We found it, but this was before we discovered this, as we didn't have any choice, so we made the New Lovac channel, and that was when we started trying to post to everyone on Tumblr and all of our other social media at the time that hey, we've moved, and
yeah, we're doing new things now.
And by the time we had gotten into it, I think a good portion of our subscriber base at the time had already shifted over to the new channel. And so we got it open, and I was I think it was you who told me, Stu, is that we had a message in our YouTube inbox from a few months back of Kira Buckland contacting us, wanting to work with us.
Oops.
Yep.
And I was heartbroken.
Yeah.
Because Kira is the one who sparked my interest into doing voiceover. I followed her work. I enjoyed her work, and I saw that she started off from living in Alaska, of all places, and then working all the way up to working professionally, and now she's one of the big ones.
Yeah.
She voices
She's made
2B, She voices 2B. She voices all sorts of characters from all over now.
You're right.
And so hearing that hey, we missed out on that. I was frustrated. And so it's
yeah, I didn't even hear about that till weeks later after you guys learned about it, and I was like, oh shit, really? What?
Yeah, and so it was, but I feel that we've done good for ourselves.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
At this point, we have a subscriber base that I still cannot fathom.
Oh yeah.
And we've had the opportunity to work with some other good vocal talent, some wonderful artists, even a few musicians for some music and stuff like that. Yeah, it's I know it's weird, but doing this is just making me very doing this podcast again is making me very self-reflective about where we've been.
Oh
and,
yeah.
And how we got here.
Well, and as especially being the person who contacts a lot of the people who have voiced in our comics or provided music or anything of the sort, a lot of the artists who did art for the comic, it's almost really crazy to communicate with these people and be like, oh shit, I talked to Vinny Vinesauce at one point. That's crazy.
That.
Yeah, we got that. Who else? We got we had Crash Boombanger in a couple of comics, which I know he doesn't really do voiceover anymore, which is a shame. I understand why he was burnt out, but
I was gonna say, I don't even think he has his
a
lot of his accounts anymore.
He made a new account on Tumblr by what I last recall, and has just kind of transitioned away from it. We had We had Case.
Yeah.
Case was already big, but when we came into contact with them, like it would, and I still follow social media. I don't know what they're going by now. As far as online, I'd have to go and take a look. I always recognize.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Recognize the username when I see it, but like yeah, they've got music, like a full, like they got a band now.
Yeah.
Which is crazy to think
Yeah.
about.
Trying to think who else we've gotten to work with.
I feel like I Want to Be in a Band is the one thing everyone's said ever.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I can't disagree with that sentiment. Same. Like. There we go. But yeah, no, it's been crazy, and it's always a crazy experience. Like, even just getting permission for comics and being like, hey, we did this thing to your comic, and are you okay with it? And like,
we did this thing. Man, you make it seem like we like took like Sharpie marker and
Yeah.
just drew all over it.
sometimes it's what I gotta do.
Yeah, sometimes we do that.
Yeah. But like,
Hey, I drew glasses and a Groucho stash over your MC. Is that okay if I did that?
there's always, I don't know why, there's always like this fear whenever I send that. I'm like, alright, it's sent. And they're not gonna like this at all. And this is gonna suck. They're gonna see that I took their comic and just, I'm planning on absolutely plagiarizing them and taking all the credit. And they're like, dude, this is actually really well made, and thank you so much for doing this. And I really like that you credited me at the, I'm like, oh, thank God. Every time. Every fucking time.
And the fact that like some of these artists are even so generous enough to say like, yeah, you can monetize it. Like,
Yeah.
they absolutely don't have to do that, and we never demand that out of anyone. And we've even had a few people who've come back to us later and have changed their mind, and we're totally cool with that.
Yeah.
But it's just like the fact that like, you know, even for a period of time that they were okay with that is incredibly like gracious and baffling to me, because like they, like, don't get me wrong, it's like we do a lot of work on our end, but as far as those comics are done, for the most part, they do a lot more.
Yeah.
Like,
well, yeah, no, I contacted one artist recently that was like, yeah, no, I'm sorry, man. I don't feel comfortable with monetizing. I'm sorry. And it was a completely different message saying, I'm sorry, period. And I'm like, don't be sorry about that. It's your art. Like,
you don't need that. You don't like that.
Like, this is your baby that, like, I'm just doing stuff with.
We were just like, that is by far an optional aspect of it. None of us have ever been in it for, at least for Lovec related purposes, as it stands right now, in its current form, have ever been in it for financial gain. And any money that we did make off of it has all gone into projects for Lovec.
Oh yeah.
Or equipment. Like, that's been the main two things, either getting people together to do stuff together or equipment. And so, like,
but never both. Never again.
never both. Not at the same time. That happened once.
God, never
We
again.
don't speak about that time.
Oh God.
And this is something that Connor and I in particular have been talking about. Is because like we do feel that, like, while we enjoy what we do feel that Lovec needs to change a little bit to evolve.
Mm-hmm.
In a bit of a way, because like we still love doing the voiceover content, but we also know that comic dubs our comic dub releases in particular are highly inconsistent, and our upload schedule of that can attest to that.
Yeah.
And that's mainly because of the fact that Connor's our only editor, like. And he does fantastic work, but
I do what I can.
I cannot, like, we had a point where Connor was, I don't mean to out you like this, but like, you were working yourself to the bone.
I full soccerite it.
Like, fully, like, this guy was not sleeping, and all of us were concerned. It's like, Connor, you've got to slow down. he's like, but nobody else is making is doing this stuff. I'm like, slow down. and that's why a lot of things changed. But so like, I still want to do we didn't. This is I'll just throw these out there. This is by no means set in stone yet or anything like that. We talked about doing like group voiceover things, like just taking a script or taking a comic or something, like not for monetized purposes or anything like that, but just doing like a cold read and just having fun with it, like, or taking a group of characters and using different voices for them, like like doing impressions or trying to give the characters a different like archetype to their voice, like taking the heroic guy and making him sound like a nerd, like
we're going daily comic dubs. You guys ready for the shit?
Yeah,
no, we're not doing daily comic dubs.
Oof.
no, thank you. Like we've been talking about doing larger scale like voiceover stuff, like something like it would be a longer based project that's released in parts. We're talking about more like alternative content, like we enjoy our video game stuff, but we're trying to restructure that even so that way there's more structure to it, more theming, having more interesting to look at than just little bits and bytes of what we do. We also want to do streaming more, whether that be voiceover based stuff or gaming stuff. Like so we bought newer equipment so that way we could actually do that, because all other attempts to do that, we were working off of the technological equivalent of a potato. So
excuse me, it's a Macintosh.
Because your computer's a potato doesn't mean.
Well, for streaming purposes, it's a potato.
Oh, my shit was made by Microsoft. I get to be a bitch to everybody.
I claim no allegiance to any one company whatsoever.
Are you sure? 'Cause you only talk shit about my computer.
I never talked shit
You
about
just
it.
did.
I said
just fucking.
I just said it's not built for streaming, and it's
Let's go for streaming. It's good.
it's good.
It's
It does
lacked
streaming.
Streams.
But it doesn't have the processing power to stream at high quality. Is more what I'm getting at. Every time we've been doing it, it's been very low quality, and the quality dips.
I will say,
before we've lost streams before.
yeah,
but
my computer's quality is not good, and that's mainly because this is not meant to be the powerhouse my laptop was, and now my laptop's gone. So I guess I'm just kind of shut out of luck for a while. But yeah, no. We're gonna take a quick break because this has been fun. This has been emotionally tolling.
Yeah.
We're reaching that 45-minute mark though, so we're gonna go ahead and take a quick ad break.
I gotta pee.
Yeah, we gotta pee. So we'll be right back. Stay tuned and enjoy the Animal Crossing music. Hey there guys, hope you've been enjoying the return of our podcast, and welcome to the ad break. Here's usually where we put a YouTube advertisement, but it could also be where we put an advertisement that you want. If you join in on our Patreon page and shoot us a $20 donation, I could be saying whatever you want during this ad break, like Chunky Fluffer Butternutters. We've got plenty of other rewards up there too, so definitely check it out at patreon.com/voiceandcans. Buy your way into our community today. Zaboomafoo fucks!
That's true.
We just read about that.
Zaboomafoo, he fucks.
Zaboomafoo.
I haven't seen my pinky in over 10 years. My wife was the only one who ever saw my pinky.
My wife was the only one who ever saw my pinky.
She's dead now.
The Spider-Verse is an amazing movie, guys.
Yeah.
Please
get
go
it off
watch
the
it.
Movie discussion.
Yeah.
Segway!
Also,
Weird.
Love X Snack.
Love X Snack Pack.
Time.
Is that- yeah.
Lovac snack.
Welcome back to Lovac Snack Time. We're the Lovac Snack Pack. How about
Lovac
that?
snack six
Pull up
pack.
to the snack pack.
And bring out your bunch of crunch popcorn and hot tamales because we're about to
Snap
go
into
into
a
movies.
Slim Jim,
A
motherfucker.
tamale is not a fucking snack.
Yeah, where do you live that a tamale is a snack?
Hot tamale.
Gas
Yeah?
station.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You can say something slower and that doesn't make you right.
The shit that the candy that I fucking get and eat with the goldfish over in the corner.
Oh, those
Give me
tamales.
Frankenstein's monster.
Yeah.
It's like, I was like,
No, I mean spicy Mike and Ike's, guys.
You mean Good and Plenty's?
No, I
Yeah.
meant like a tamale, like a pork tamale that you.
No.
That's what I-
that's what I went to too. Like you have to understand.
I mean,
You
like,
meant hot tamales, not tamales.
Yeah, not tamales that are hot.
Connor, they're cooked.
Yeah.
I'm talking.
I was like, my brain immediately went to that too because like my dad my dad is in a relationship with a Hispanic woman and she like they run a Mexican restaurant together, so tamales and tacos and the El Pastor, like all that shit is like is what I think of too immediately when anyone mentions
Okay.
stuff like that.
So yeah, I apologize. Oh no, your abuela.
Oh, my abuela Maria makes them every Christmas.
She makes hot tamales every Christmas.
Yeah,
Delicious.
that's what you eat on Christmas.
Yeah, tamales
So-
are kind of a special occasion sort of thing.
Oh yeah.
Chicken and pork.
So yeah, I'm sorry. Grab your bunch of crunch popcorn and Mike and Ike's, cause fuck these guys. Apparently they don't know fucking candy hot tamales. We're going into fucking movies and shit now. Which, as far as movies go, we got Detective Pikachu, which is coming out soon, which
Yeah.
looks too good.
It really does.
Okay, but we all need to fucking calm down, or we're gonna have a situation where we'll be disappointed or something.
Yeah, no, I think that's the
Honestly,
thing, though.
I'm past that point.
It's-
I'm ready to live.
Yeah.
Are you just gonna trick yourself into thinking it's good no matter what?
No.
Are you kidding?
I am.
You're like, I've never seen a man more certain of anything in his life.
I don't know. I feel like it's one of those things where it's like it's a movie with that originally had such low expectations that the second we saw anything about it, we were like, okay, no,
Maybe it won't be
you
so
you
bad.
caught my attention. Like, I don't know what it is. Is it the Pokemon looking pretty
Ryan
cute and
Reynolds.
absolutely adorable? Ryan Reynolds doing a really good job? Is it the fact that the main character doesn't really want to be a Pokemon master? He just wants to live his fucking life, which is very equivalent to our day and age as millennials. We may never know.
I honestly think
Okay.
the thing that solidified it for me as a movie that I want to go see is that like everything that you mentioned are very good points, but it's the fact that every single time they've shown us something more, it has been consistent.
Yeah.
Like, I don't feel that like with what they've been showing us that like they're only showing us the best parts of the movie. Like,
Mhm.
and on top of that, yeah, they made a video game for Detective Pikachu, and I'm sure that it will be borrowing some elements from it. But there's enough there that makes me think that like I don't think this is going to have the same plot line as the video game.
Yeah. That's my favorite video. I don't know. I think it was like Matt Pat did a film theory or something like that was like Pikachu's true identity. I'm like, I ain't even gonna watch this. I get it. You played the game. Let's move on.
Well, no, that theory was that it was him rationalizing that it was Ash's Pikachu.
I mean,
Also, another thing about it, and I'm being a little verbose whenever I say this, but they're not blowing their proverbial load, which is a big thing.
yeah.
What?
They're not throwing everything out. in
Yeah,
the trailers.
they're not.
Okay,
Yeah,
I was like,
it's a
Yeah.
verbose expression, but yeah, that's basically what it
okay,
means.
I was gonna say, Stu, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Well,
They're not blowing their load in the first 5 minutes of the film,
Mhm.
and that's a good sign that a film's got more to offer to it because they're not showing us everything, obviously.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
How many times have we seen like a kids movie trailer where they like
Where the
show
whole
every-
Yeah,
the whole
yeah.
plot of the movie
And it's like
is in the
that
trailer.
dog movie.
Yeah,
the
the-
dog
A Dog's
movie.
Way.
Oh my
Yeah.
A Dog's Way.
Case in point.
If y'all have
Dog's
seen Into
Journey
the
is
Spider Verse, fucking.
Man, I don't think we saw like any details about Into the Spider-Verse except that every Spider-Man got sent from a different dimension.
That was
That's
the
the
only.
setup.
That,
That's
we
what
didn't
they
have
cook.
any. Yeah, we didn't have any context. It's just that it was multiple versions of Spider-Man all working together.
Like I think we saw Green
Yeah.
Goblin more than we saw any other.
Yeah, and
villain.
he's literally like
Mm.
spoiler alert. He's literally only in the movie for like 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he's gone.
He's in there at the
Right.
beginning, and then it's like, okay, bye.
He gets turned
He
into
has
some
great.
dust.
absolutely nothing to do with the overarching plot of the movie, and that was, I think, was the best part is when they were marketing it, is they didn't show it. Like, they gave us the main idea, which is here's a bunch of versions of Spider-Man all working together. That's all you need to know. Like, and that was,
Yeah.
and they just honed in on that when they were marketing it. Like, that was what they gave us, and everybody was already like, you gave us that, you showed us how well it was working, and everybody was hooked.
Well, and that's
Well,
the craziest thing about Detective Pikachu that I've seen is literally every trailer has been showing me more and more Pokemon, and I'm like, I don't know how many more you guys can cram into here.
Yeah,
And they're all looking very natural into the environment that they're put in.
There's only been a couple that I think like the one that they showed most recently, the one that I was like, I don't know if I enjoy the design, but I don't think it's bad. I think it was Trico. I think it was what it was.
Really?
Because,
I like Trico.
like he looks like Trico. Like, don't get me wrong, he looks like Trico, but it's some of the ways that they design the Pokemon, I feel, don't quite do them the best of justice. Like, it's obvious that there was a lot of effort put into making them appear both realistic and accurate to their design. But
Yeah.
there's this, they have this texturing thing that they're doing with a lot of these Pokemon, that even ones that are supposed to be kind of smooth skin, or at least what you would think would have smoother skin, kind of always look like they have fuzz or something like that.
Mm.
It's like Trico's is obviously is some form of reptile / amphibian, and so like he should have, you know, at the very least sort of smoother textured skin to him. And at least, granted, we only saw him for like 2 frames, so I could be wrong. It could be motion blur. It could be a lot of things, but he looked very distinctly fuzzy to me, and I'm like, okay, that's fine. Like, it still looks like Trico. Like, he's got the same shaped head. Like, his overall anatomy is the same. Like, it still
And
looks like.
I think it's kind of impossible to just say that every single Pokemon is going to show up in the hundreds of Pokemon.
I was gonna say, out of
The almost
fucking 800?
1,000
Yeah.
different species that we have. Like,
Yeah.
Well, and that's almost the most impressive thing is out of the ones we've been shown, it's almost amazing how they've kind of
gotten
looked at
so
each of
many
them
in.
individually and was like, if someone likes this Pokemon, they're gonna be happy with it.
Mhm.
Also,
Like, oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say also, it's a stupid comment, but I think Trico's supposed to be a gecko.
Yeah, so it's either a
Yeah.
reptile or an amphibian of some sort.
Yeah,
Like,
I think it's a gecko.
But yeah.
The only Pokemon I think I was very uncomfortable by was Pancham. Because
Oh,
they
yeah.
gave it these weird, like, those weird whisker things that it done on the side of its head.
mhm.
But they made it look really greasy or something.
Yeah, it looks like it's got matted hair a little
Yeah.
bit, which I guess kind of makes sense when you look, because it's called the playful Pokemon. It talks about how it's like all rough and tumble, like with other Pokemon and stuff like that. So maybe that's like a design choice to mimic the description that they've been given for it.
Yeah.
But yeah, like that's like Connor says, like none of them are, you know, like you look at them and none of them to me are like, oh my
There's
god,
a better-
that's.
Here's a better list.
Oh, that's definitely a gecko.
Yeah, but you see, like he kind of like looks like he is like a
I think
little.
it looks great.
Yeah, he
I think
looks
it looks
great.
pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Okay.
it's just something. Like I said, and that picture is a lot cleaner than the one that I initially saw. So that might be something about it too. It might have been just image quality.
I was gonna
But
say some of these models might be made for a specific scene with specific lighting,
mhm.
because you have to make, in order to make things look at least visually satisfying, you might make things more vibrant or
Mhm.
darker or
Glowy.
brighter.
Like I said, like it could have been a lot of things. That by far is a much cleaner image though. That I've seen that, and now seeing that is a lot better. But like yeah, but all of them are designs that when you look at them, like if you know Pokemon, you know what they are. And
Yeah.
I think the one that I've seen that they've taken the most creative liberties was Greninja, which was shown in one of the first trailers. And
Yeah.
it still looks like Greninja. It's just very it's more humanoid looking. Like, and it has much. I think it's got a lot skinnier limbs than what it was shown in the anime to have.
Mhm.
But it's more realistically proportioned. But like, it's still recognizable enough to be Greninja.
To be Greninja, yeah. And that's what, yeah, no. The only Pokemon that I like am legitimately terrified of Not even because it's got a bad design. Apom scares the shit out of me.
Right?
I'm not gonna lie to you guys.
They showed him I think in that same trailer they showed him again, and he doesn't look nearly as bad. So
Oh yeah, no, but the second he got
he showed
I saw
his
that
teeth.
anger. He showed his teeth, got a little bit of a furry brow. I'm like, nah, bitch. See ya.
Yeah, like
Human teeth.
I'm not okay with that. Well, talking about designs, let's go on to the next movie that I was thinking about, because apparently there was a showing of like a trailer or something for the Sonic movie.
Yeah, it was a closed showing.
Yeah.
Like, it was
And
invite only, I believe.
Yeah, I wasn't invited, obviously. I don't think any of us were.
I think it
We're
was
just
at a
random
convention.
dudes
It
on
was
the
at a
internet.
convention. It was at a convention, and it was either invite only, and I think there were very limited seating for the public at this convention.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was behind closed doors. The only thing that we've gotten about it so far is just synopses of what the trailers were. Because they showed two. I think one of them focused on Sonic, and it was mostly of him like running around and meeting the main human character that he meets in the game, which is I think the
Police officer.
who like I think like tries to chase him for speeding.
Hilarious. Are
and
we gonna
then-
get what's his face, who has the race car driver from the anime, who tries to
Oh,
race
God.
Sonic at every
God.
possibility?
And then the second trailer focused in with Jim Carrey as are they calling him Robotnik or Eggman?
I think it's Eggman.
Is it
I
Eggman?
think so.
Yeah, Robotnik, I feel, wasn't it just the Japanese?
That was the U.S.
Yeah,
that was
That
his-
was
his
original.
I think his name has always been that.
It's
just
always
they,
been
they
Eggman.
well, I thought his name was technically Robotnik, but they've been
Nope.
calling him Eggman.
It was Eggman from the start over in Japan.
Mhm.
We basically localized it, and gave
then-
him the name Robotnik, and then later on they adopted it around the adventure timeline.
I was gonna
Referenced
say,
it.
I think
Referenced
that's
it, and
the.
They've never
and
really addressed it.
Yeah, his
So it's one
name.
of those
Yeah,
things,
his name
yeah.
is Ivo Robotnik, but like Sonic
Eggman.
now calls him Eggman as like a way of getting on his nerves.
Yeah.
And
Which honestly actually does make a lot of sense in context.
Makes a lot of sense.
makes a lot of sex in context.
Yeah.
Connor's
man.
got a thing for Robotnik.
Y'all gonna have a field day with this one, aren't you? Sonic OC creators.
Depends on the Robotnik. If we're talking Sonic Boom Robotnik, I'm all behind that.
Yeah.
We're talking Sonic Sat AM Robotnik. Weird jelly
yeah.
bean man.
You don't like the Jelly Bean Patrick Star look? Oh god, but yeah,
I like
no,
it, but
I
ain't
know.
gonna fuck it.
I know nothing about the Sonic the Hedgehog movie aside from posters we've seen, and that kind of sucks because like a lot of people have been seeing the trailers with like positive reception from what I've heard.
But
Okay,
mostly positive.
Okay, I'm gonna pull the room here. Using an A through F grading scale, what would you rate the character model for Sonic for the movie as?
D.
D?
Like using a letter character.
Like
model?
like A to F grading
Yeah,
scale.
that's what I'm asking.
Yeah. You can use
Fuck you.
plus and minus if you want to. So like
C minus.
C minus.
Let's go. Where am I at? An hour 30. Okay, I'm
You're-
gonna
I
put the picture of Sonic
He's
up.
had an
Oh, yeah.
A plus model like his entire life.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why they had to make that.
I think I'm right there with you. I think I give it a C minus. Is that like I don't feel that it needed to be. It's not. It certainly could be worse. Like,
I'm gonna-
like when they made the silhouette and like people were like trying to theorize with it and like giving him an actual like hedgehog looking face where he had like
Yeah.
the beady eyes and everything like that. Like
I
it
would've
certainly
loved
could.
that.
It's certainly, and that's the thing is that when they were showing that, I was realistically bracing myself for that being the case because I couldn't rule it out.
Right.
Like, that was the thing, and seeing that one, I can see like there have been a couple of artists that I follow online who took the render and they actually photoshopped it to make it a little more
Sonic.
like a little like giving him bigger eyes, fixing some of the facial
I don't know
structures.
why. I don't know why realism people are so afraid of big eyes. I like even the new Detective Pikachu Eevee. I'm like comparing like Eevee's picture to like the actual thing.
It's a rounder head.
Rounder head and smaller eyes.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, that's Eevee's big thing, is giant, big old fucking eyes.
Mhm.
And Flareon looks perfect. The eye size is completely perfect.
Mm-hmm.
But Eevee has smaller eyes. And I'm like,
But yeah, it's one of those things. Like it could certainly be worse. But like it didn't need to change. I really think we could have kept noodly armed modern Sonic and stuck him in there with some realistic some realistic fur texturing like they did with the original with this current model, and it would have been weird not having his that's the other thing that I'm trying to get I'm trying to brace myself for is that they don't have he doesn't have Roger Craig Smith as his voice.
who's good gonna be?
It's the guy who plays
Oh yeah,
Jean-Ralphio.
yeah.
Well, he does a
Jean-Ralphio.
really good job in.
Yeah, I don't think he'll do a bad. I don't think he'll be a bad actor. I don't think he's a bad actor for the role. But it's one of those things
He's
that's
done a
like.
lot of voice acting.
But it's like
Yeah.
it's also one of those. But it's also one of the things that Sonic has always had this very distinct sounding voice, and it's going to be one of those things that it's again one of those things I have to brace myself for. Is he going to sound like that, or are they going to go a completely different route with this character?
Hey, I'm
Right?
Sonic.
One of-
Sonic the Hedgehog.
One of my biggest qualms with the Sonic character archetype is that they seem flawless. I don't like flawless characters because it makes you seem like a Gary Stu.
Mm-hmm.
mm-hmm.
And you're already half of that.
Yeah, I know. I'm already like 3/4 of that. But no, I think one of the
Change
things
your name to Gary.
I think one of the things that this new movie could improve upon is his characterization, because like up until now, at least as it stands right now at this current time and location, we haven't really had a good like down to earth Sonic character. He's always been too cool, way past cool.
Yeah.
etc.
IDW is doing a
Sonic's
good job with it.
Who?
Though.
I think the Sonic Boom.
Sonic
show
Boom's
is
done it right.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
IDW with their new Sonic comic
take that
is,
back,
is doing.
I can't swim.
Yeah, they're doing a really good job with it too because they're keeping his personality. Like he still has that very gung ho, do first, think later kind of thing. But he also recognizes that that makes him vulnerable. That he's not the smartest. He's not the strongest.
Mhm.
Like he knows what he's good at, and he relies on his friends to make up in the areas that he lacks. But that's
So he's a parasite.
yes. Yeah. He's a piece of shit, and I love him.
I was gonna say, I'm about to throw more dirt on something that's already fucking buried in a grave. But before I do that, my ranking for his model, because I never got to say it, is E. Whew, barely made it. There we go. That was it. That was the joke I wanted to do 5 minutes ago. But, not to throw more dirt on a fucking gravestone that is Sonic Forces.
It's less a gravestone, more of a landfill.
The Sonic Force is that bad?
It's not great.
But like, let me show
It's
you.
not bad.
Let me
but
tell you.
It's a land of missed opportunity.
This probably wouldn't even be a conversation if there was a huge, like, arc that they skipped out on where there's fucking, oh, you gotta go rescue Sonic because he was kidnapped by Eggman and tortured for months.
Yeah.
And then we go and see him
What?
tortured.
Yeah, no, that I heard you. I'm just like.
Yeah, and then the
aghast.
next scene, he's sitting in a cell and he's perfectly fine.
He's like, whew, can't wait to get out of here.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, what's up? You got the key? Thank you.
Bye. To even preface it, even before that, you knew that there was going to be problems when the public demo was released, and you could only play the level that they gave you for a minute, and then it kicked you out of the game. You couldn't even beat the level in that time. That was the thing.
Oh,
But-
we cannot go into tangenting about Sonic Forces
No,
because it's going to take
coming
forever.
past.
Yeah.
But that's the main thing I wanted to say is, like, they've had chances. Like, that could have been a huge fucking opportunity to, like, show Sonic at a very vulnerable state.
I'll
And
just say this right now. Sonic Mania 2, please. Bye.
yeah, Sonic
Yeah.
Mania 2.
Please.
Please.
You can call it something else as long as it's the same team. Just please.
They so something interesting, and I'm only going to touch on this because I know we got a limited amount of time. Their team Team Headcanon, the guy who's run by Christian Whitehead and all those. They actually recently formed a new company of their own.
Oh, shit.
Separate from Sega, and we're thinking that it's going to lead to other big titles being remastered or reworked or added on in a similar fashion.
Ooh.
So I'm really...
I can't wait.
New Rice Star, maybe?
Oh, God. Honestly, I hope so. I love the original Rice Star.
Rice Star's pretty great.
Streets
right.
of Rage.
Mhm.
Go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. I'm under the topics of movies because we've got one more. Allie, I need to look. You need to look me directly in the eye as we go into the topic. That is Stu vaping into the microphone.
Sorry.
No, the Disney live action movies.
Oh.
And dear God, how they're looking.
Why do you want me to talk about it?
Because you're the Disney princess of the group.
What?
Quick,
But
sing
yeah,
something.
it's-
I'm sure Misa will come to your aid.
That is not even ever gonna...
Misa will look at us from the other room and flip us off.
Or come here and bite one of us.
But yeah, no, we've seen Aladdin, we've seen Lion King now. Dumbo just came out.
It's not getting good reviews.
It's not.
Hey, get in your
Tim
face.
Burton's been bombing it.
Yeah?
That's what happens, I guess, when you have the same aesthetic for over...
What, 2 decades?
Sorry, I used to be like a Tim Burton fan, but...
Still
at the
love
same
his old
time-
stuff,
But
but,
I was like, was I a Tim Burton fan, or was I a fan of the aesthetic that he would
Tim
add on
Burton
to
aesthetic.
everything? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The
And,
creepy, not so creepy aesthetic.
yeah, and even then, that's just being goth.
Penguin
Yeah.
was pretty creepy.
Huh?
I said the penguin was pretty creepy.
Yeah?
Yeah, but it's Danny DeVito.
Yeah.
But yeah, we recently the Lion King trailer came out, and already
literally, what, like yesterday?
everyone is just making comparisons to the old movie, and it's just not looking good.
Yeah, it doesn't look good. Like, they did the whole iconic, the three, like, Timon, Pumbaa, and Simba walking across, doing the whole walking montage where he grows up, and there's not a significant size change. Like,
Oh, yeah.
Like, so, like, it took me a minute to realize, I'm like, oh, they did the transition. Like, he's slightly
Oh, for real?
bigger.
I
Yeah.
noticed that.
Yeah, he's like slightly bigger, but it's like they don't exaggerate the movements. Like they're all walking like normal animals.
Normal
do.
fucking
It
animals.
looks like something out of a documentary. Like, and then like they did another comparison of Scar telling Simba, that it's your fault Mufasa is dead. And and they show the comparison of like Simba, he's like from the animated film, and he's like, he's gasping and he looks terrified and mortified, and then they showed like the CG Simba, and he's just it's a lion.
It's a lion.
It's just a lion.
He's
like,
just looking up.
now, I will say,
All I've seen in
here's
the
the-
trailers is
yeah.
dirt, and more dirt. But go on.
Here's the thing.
As far as
is
coloration
that-
goes,
And out of all of these live action remakes that they've released and have shown, the only one that looks of any mild interest to me that I feel is going to be somewhat different is going to be Aladdin. And that's because of the fact that the original animated form of Aladdin, Robin Williams made that film. Like, that is what made that film so iconic and so enjoyable.
yeah.
Like, all of the characters are good, don't get me wrong, but it's like, it was that slapstick, referential humor that Robin Williams was able to ad-lib in to so many of these scenes that made it so interesting to watch.
Yeah.
And if you don't know, they have Will Smith being Genie for this one. And it was weird at first because they did it in the weirdest way possible. It's like they just showed Will Smith as a blue fucking Will Smith for like in the first trailer for like 2 seconds.
It was
And
amazing.
then
The internet went
and
off.
the trailer cut. And I looked at it and I'm like, why?
Why would you
And,
do
like,
this?
Because like the thing is, I think like even somebody went and retouched it and they tried to give him his natural skin tone again, and it looks so much better because it didn't look, because like that's the thing is that like when you're doing like live action and you're CGing things, you have to have proper context sometimes, because if you just like you have one random blue ass motherfucker show up and you have no context, even if someone who knows the film, like the source material, it still looks awkward because it's not animated, so our suspension of disbelief hasn't left. You know?
Yeah.
Like, it's meant to be live action, so it should be somewhat believable.
No, yeah.
And I will say later on when they made a new trailer where they showed Genie in a more human looking appearance, where he had regular flesh tone skin and was dressing to, like, you know, match the material. Yes, I know me, so you agree wholeheartedly, right?
Yeah, finish up your statement and check out.
I'll get
check
in a
him out,
second.
please, because
But yeah, they I feel like that's what they're gonna have to do. Is they're going to have to change everything around to let
Oh my gosh, talk to our cat, please.
to let Will Smith kind of do his own thing, because if they try to make him do what Robin Williams did, it ain't gonna work. I am coming, tiny son.
All right.
Yes.
What are you guys thinking about with the movies?
I've only seen the trailer once.
I mean, is it just, are we only talking about Aladdin or the state of
Any
Disney
all?
in general?
Yes,
Because
because Disney in general.
what has not been fucking said about money grabbing the decade?
Yeah.
Yeah, like that's
terrifying, right? That an entire decade is being basically...
they're literally taking pretty much all of the golden age Disney films and trying to re-release them in this format, and that's the thing, is pretty much all of them have bombed. Like, at least when you compare them to, you know, their original releases. Like,
Yeah.
It's terrifying, right? Like, it's just like...
and
don't get me wrong, I get it. Like, going back and if you, like, re-release something, if you're doing something along the lines of, like, before, after, like, if you're an independent artist and you're like, I want to retouch up something I've already done. Like, we've gone back and remastered Lovac videos, and that felt really good to do, because it was
And
like,
Disney's
now
done
this
that
is how
too,
far
though.
we've gone. And yeah, you're right, Disney's also gone and done that as well. But, like, obviously that's, like, independent artists wanting to show what they can do compared to what they did before,
But,
as
like,
compared to Disney, who is now like, you know what? Let's just remake these movies, because fuck it, people will buy
it's
anything.
kind of like the same situation that happened with George Lucas when he still had creative control over Star Wars, is that he was constantly, he's like, oh, well, I want to change this because of this reason. You know, like, he added in a bunch of goofy scenes to some of the original trilogy because he wanted it to have funny scenes for kids, when it
Right.
really didn't need it. Like,
Oh yeah, no.
that was kind of thing. Is it really okay, you know, to do that? And this is kind of the same thing. It's like, I get why they're doing it. Like, they can say all day long that they're trying to re-release these in a new format that will be appealing to the current generation. But, like, that's the thing, though, is that, like, we've already seen with stuff like Into the Spider-Verse and a bunch of other animated films that have come out in the recent years, that, like, animation is still, you know, doing something that isn't realistic is still an appealing thing.
Oh yeah,
Like,
for sure.
I mean, look at Into the Spider-Verse. Into the Spider-Verse is far from realistic in terms of its, you know, of its art style and its proportions and things like that. And it won Best Animated Picture of the Year.
Yeah.
Like, it's the first time I think they said in, like, over a decade that Disney didn't win Best Animated Picture. Like,
And the worst part is, I don't even know if there's any other Disney
I can't
movies
even-
that are happening.
I almost can't even count it Disney winning those because they're fucking piggybacking off Pixar at this point.
yeah.
Yeah.
And that's a whole other can of worms too. Like,
Disney stopped making... As far as I'm fucking concerned, Disney stopped actually caring about their animated movies, like, after Tangled.
I was gonna say, we have,
And
like I
once
said,
again, that was Glenn Keane fucking saving Disney's animation department again.
like that was the.
Sorry, that's like really mean, but
I will
like,
say,
Nah,
out
it's
of
all good.
everything that Disney has announced in the past, really, I think within the past year, the one
Hold
thing
on,
that.
can I say one last thing?
Yeah, go ahead.
I kind of find it like weirdly fucking ironic that their newest animated show is goddamn Tangled and it's acing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now it's like their most popular show and they still don't show it. It's now on a hiatus now,
Yeah.
despite the fact that it is an animated show that is actually fucking killing it.
Well,
Yeah.
that's the thing with like just about any animation studio. Like Warner Brother does it, Disney does it, Nickelodeon does it. Is that we no longer the major studios no longer are willing to go out on a limb on something to see that if it's a slow burn to start, because
Yeah.
like we've had these big successes. We've had SpongeBob, we've had Adventure Time, we've had Steven Universe. We've had all of these shows that have come out and have exploded instantaneously, and become worldwide phenomenons in a matter of months. And now we have shows, that got started that had lots of potential, and that are just gone.
Yeah.
Because they didn't do the same thing, and that's really unfortunate. Like, what was Wander Over Yonder?
Oh
Was
yeah.
one of those.
Yeah.
Wander Over Yonder was amazing.
That's sad.
It was one of those shows that it didn't necessarily, like, it had a semi-coherent plot, but you didn't have to follow it. Like, you could watch any episode that showed up that was still entertaining without knowing the full context of the story. Like, when you did know the full context of the story, it was great.
Right.
Like, the animation was solid, the voice acting was solid, everything was good for it. But because it didn't take off like they expected to, they cut it. And it's gone. And that's why you see a lot of, that's why Pendleton Ward, left Cartoon Network, because he was getting tired of watching studios, either get worked to the bone trying to make something fantastic out of something that they wanted to market as, the next big thing, or they would get cut and lose their jobs because it didn't take off like the executives thought they would.
Yeah.
And that's why you see things like Cartoon Hangover now, which is a completely digital thing where they're releasing the shows are releasing for free. Like, you have Bravest Warriors is one of them. They have a whole bunch of other stuff that's
And
on.
you've
That's
got
on
Frederator.
Frederator, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you have companies you have startups like Verve that have come now and are picking up some of these smaller shows while also partnering with other distribution centers to release cartoons that at one point were very hard to come by.
Right.
Like, watching the old Hanna-Barbera
Going
cartoons.
back through and
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 even then, Hanna-Barbera is basically non-existent except for Scooby-Doo.
well, yeah, it's owned by Warner Brothers.
especially nowadays, yeah.
I think
And-
Harvey Birdman's probably the only title that is still regularly used, or it was recently used.
Yeah,
Think?
that was just them using the character likenesses for
Yeah.
the most part, and sometimes very loosely interpretations of the characters themselves.
Yeah, the only times I see anything Hanna-Barbera related is it's either Scooby-Doo or, God rest their souls, Tom and Jerry doing another movie crossover.
God.
And it kills me every time.
The Scooby-Doo
still
ones
haven't
kill me
found
too
that.
because they still some of the partnerships are so bizarre. Like when they did, I think the Scooby-Doo with WrestleMania,
That was awesome.
Listen,
don't get me wrong,
yeah.
was it good? But it was just it blew my mind. Is that what we've come to? Is that we can't make an original Scooby-Doo film without plugging in some sort of other franchise?
Well, it's
into it?
here's almost the thing with Scooby-Doo, though, is that, they've had a track record of doing
Yeah,
that
they
before,
built that
so it's a
up.
lot more...
Yeah, no. Remember fucking the old
relatable.
Batman and Robin crossover?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that. Yeah, but that
Scooby-Doo
was,
meets blank.
Yeah, but that was
Scooby-Doo
that
Mega
was all,
Man.
but that was also Scooby-Doo meets Mega Man. My God.
Scooby-Doo meets
It's-
Gordon Ramsay's now a thing.
Yeah,
Really?
yeah,
Yes.
that was one. Yeah, we met with Gordon Ramsay. They've thinking what else they did. They did the crossover with Supernatural.
Oh, God.
That was-
People actually love that one.
That was
'cause it's
actually really good, and that was very tongue in cheek though too. And,
Yeah.
and that and that kind of thing I'm okay with. It's just and I don't have a problem with the crossover thing in general. It's just
Yeah.
like in the case of the WrestleMania one, I want something that is actually engaging to watch.
Mr.
At the
Inc.
Yeah, like the Mystery Inc. series. Like, that was
Mhm.
amazing. Like, doing something like that, like taking an old property and breathing some new life into
Because it was Derek J. Wyatt.
Yeah. Like, it was taking the core concept and putting a new spin on it. And that I'm totally fine with, as long as that's the thing though, is that there are plenty of studios who are trying to do that with completely unique ideas, trying to take a cliche storyline or stereotype and trying to throw a new spin on it, and they just don't get anywhere. Like
Mhm.
Looney Tunes.
It's...
Looney Tunes,
Yeah,
the new
Looney Tunes.
Looney Tunes I was impressed when they brought back Looney Tunes.
Yeah. And it
The
actually
art style threw me
worked.
off for a bit, but the humor was there.
Yeah.
it was a lot like SpongeBob's humor,
It was updated.
where it was updated. It was still funny, but there was also those little bits for people like me who are older watching these cartoons that it was like, oh wow, they kind of threw in a little thing in for people who they know are older who were watching it.
Yeah.
And it was great. Like, I think the only thing that took me the longest time to grow over for the new Looney Tunes was the recharacterization of Lola. Because they brought back Lola, who was a character that I from his character from Space Jam of all things, who I'm trying to remember who voiced her. Was it Mandy Moore?
I have no idea.
I don't remember who voiced her in Space Jam, but then she just disappeared. I think before Looney Tunes came
Baby
out,
Looney Tunes.
Yeah.
there was Baby Looney Tunes. And the only other time I had seen an adult Lola though, along with
The
rest
full
of
bombshell furry bait
yeah,
Lola.
the last time I saw it was out of all things was at Six Flags, because they had
Right.
one of those little
That's
impromptu
terrifying.
shows where they actually had a costumed Lola character in the show, and I was like, what?
Right.
But it was but they brought her back, and they, rather than using the very cliched stereotype character that was in Space Jam, they gave her a personality that was over the top and funny, just like all the other characters. It just was
Right.
It was just a shift that I had to get used to, but it was still funny.
No, yeah.
And now it's pretty much gone. That studio is just now doing little shorts that I think only air on Boomerang now. Like they don't even air on main Cartoon Network. They're on Boomerang.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, that's great and all, but it's like,
Well, no, yeah, nah. It's especially nowadays in this day and age where we really don't watch Boomerang. We watch.
well, Boomerang's
Things
not
on
even. It's
YouTube.
not. Boomerang used to be a standard cable package channel. It's not
Yeah.
anymore.
No, exactly.
Like, now you either have to buy the deluxe, your deluxe cable package or satellite package to get it, or you pay into the Boomerang streaming service.
It's fucking ridiculous.
That's
And-
another thing too. Is that, like, don't get me wrong, I see the potential in streaming,
Mhm.
but trying to rope off everything into its own individual streaming service, it's going to eventually kill that market.
Yeah. Before you continue on, we have diverged very,
Yeah, I'm
very
sorry.
hard now that I've
No, I like,
taken a moment back.
I like that fucking subject though.
No, yeah, same. But I know we're-
remember there was a post about it, like earlier, saying like how fucked up that shit was, and then people were like, "What? You want Netflix to be a monopoly?" And I'm like, "No, I just want to not pay $25 for 5 different streaming services, like fucking Crunchyroll
Yeah.
and Funimation's stupid feud now."
Well, yeah, like that's the thing though. So, like, if you look at it, like how it's going right now, is that if you're wanting to watch just basic movies for the most part, you're getting Netflix, which I think is currently is getting ready to go up to, I think, $15 a month. If you want more modern TV shows that are currently in circulation, you gotta get Hulu, which you can watch Hulu for free, but
Mhm.
the advertisements are
It's
a little insane.
You're getting slowly further and further away from the mic, Jable.
Sorry.
Yeah.
My feet were hurting, so I've been standing up this whole time because there's not a whole lot of space in our recording space.
So you
right
could
now.
open the other door and bring the chair in.
I could.
You
I'm
could.
not going to, but I
course.
could.
Yeah, let me.
But here, I'll just scoot in a little closer. But it's like you have Hulu, so if you want to watch Hulu without ads, that's another, I think, like $10 a month. Disney is still in the process of putting out their own streaming service, so anything Disney or Marvel related theoretically is going to become exclusive to that at some point in time in the future. And I
Mhm.
think that's at $10-15 a month. DC and Warner Brothers just made their own DC streaming service, so all of the DC shows are on there now. There's new.
It was the only place
They're-
to see new Young Justice.
Yeah, they're
now.
gatekeeping the Young Justice season 3 on there.
Of course.
Supposedly the Teen Titans continuation, like the animated show from Cartoon Network, is going to be on there exclusively as well. So it's like, that's like more and more of these companies are keep saying, well, if you want to watch our stuff, you have to watch it through us, like,
Right.
or not at all. And that's and then you have something like Verve, who was like trying to bring a bunch, like was working with these companies to try to bring it underneath all one banner, so that way people could actually, you know, watch this material. Because that's the thing, is that like I don't know about anyone else, but I think your average, you know, your average 20 something doesn't have $50-$60 a month to just shell out, you know, just to watch stuff.
Right.
Especially not all
Even
at
people
once.
that do aren't gonna.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's when it's not all in one place, it's less likely to be looked at. Like that was one of the things. Like when Disney stuff, like when they said the Disney stuff was gonna be, I love Disney. Like I love Disney's films. I love a lot of their shows. I love the Marvel Cinematic Universe that's been created. But if they're gonna pull their stuff off of Netflix and other platforms and try to, as far as other than buying the movies themselves or going to watch them in the theater, if that's your only way you're gonna be able to watch them digitally, I don't care. Like I'm not gonna like, I already invested money in the Netflix because I could watch that stuff there. Yeah, it sometimes is a little bit longer after the movie came out, but it's like I could expect it to be there.
No, yeah, of course.
And now they're like, well, now you got to pay, you know, the same price that you're paying to watch it now, plus that, if you want to watch our stuff.
Even if it didn't have a bunch of really good fucking movies on there, their original shows are better than most of the original content that most
right?
streaming services are offering now.
Mm-hmm.
Like fucking, I'm not gonna be able to see She-Ra anywhere else. You
Mhm.
know.
Yeah. Devilman Crybaby came out specifically
Yeah,
on Netflix.
They're bringing an anime that wouldn't have gotten
Castlevania.
much traction.
Castlevania.
Mm-hmm.
That wouldn't have gotten much funding or traction anywhere else. Like Dragon
Yeah,
Pilot is fantastic.
Yeah, Netflix is like really the only production studio that I'm seeing is willing to take chances, because they just announced that they're going to be doing a cartoon series for Hyper Light Drifter, which is an indie game
Holy
with
fuck.
the same producer from Castlevania.
Oh,
Like, and it's like you wouldn't hear, you know, Cartoon Network doing that.
No,
like Nickelodeon doing that. They don't do that, and it's just like you said. Like we're getting shows that, you know, probably wouldn't like.
Well,
Netflix took a chance on Wakfu, and granted, you know, that didn't have the greatest start, and it unfortunately doesn't look like it's going to go anywhere. But you know, that was a show that had a small following, and by putting it on Netflix, that following grew.
Yeah.
Same thing for Miraculous Ladybug. Like Miraculous Ladybug is another show that, like, you know, was down on its luck when it was trying to get made, and Netflix saw its potential and said, "Yeah, we'll host you." And so now, like, yeah, it gets broadcasted like on television in France, but like now it has an international audience with an official English dub.
Right.
Like,
And a very good one at
and a
that.
very good one at that.
Yeah.
Same thing with Wakfu when they took over helping dub season 3 for Wakfu. That dub was impeccable.
It was good.
Thank God.
And that's what I think. All like that. If anybody needs to take a page out of anyone's book, it's Netflix right now. And like it's getting interesting, because like there's a thing going on right now where a bunch of movie directors are trying to say, because what was it, I think it was Bird Box that got nominated for some Academy Awards this past year or something like that. It was some Netflix film.
Yeah, I'd say Bird Box, because that was kind of the biggest one.
I think it was Bird Box, but like it got nominated for some Academy Awards, and now a bunch of directors and stuff like that, including Steven Spielberg, who's on the board, are wanting to say that Netflix films should be barred from being considered acceptable for Academy Awards.
Ah, yes, that shit.
And it's like
elitism.
I was like, why?
That's
Because they don't put it in a full theatrical release, because its main platform of being available is digital, because like that's the case with some of the biggest shows that are watched right now are on digital platforms. Like some of Netflix, like some of the best, like some of the most watched shows on television currently are exclusive to Netflix. Like, so I think that's bogus. Like,
Oh, absolutely. And
Steven.
But
Yeah, no, it's been crazy. It's been, like, Netflix is definitely the only place where you can find, like, literally any content like that, and it's incredible. They're
doing
experimented-
K-dramas now. Like,
Yeah.
K-dramas. Like,
Well, and they experimented with, like, Devilman Crybaby, because that's a fucking... First of all, that's a crazy concept in the first place, being like, yeah, sure, we'll revamp this old anime from... Was it a 90s anime, I believe, or 80s?
Yeah.
Late 70s, early 80s.
Yeah, and they were like, we'll just revamp this and give it a little bit more of a...
Don't
Yeah, a
quote
little
me
more
on
oomph.
that, Devilman fans.
Yeah.
I'm not one of you.
Well, there was another show
I
we
just like gay boys.
like another show we watched recently that was like just a bunch of independent artists coming together, which was like Love, Death, or Sex, Death, and
Love, Death, and Robots.
Yeah, Love, Death, and Robots.
I kept saying Sex, Death, and Robots while we were watching.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think I
Either
saw
me
my
or-
pingy in there.
There was a penis in every one of those shorts.
Yeah.
Wasn't there?
Yeah, there was some sort of nudity in every short. Not to mention there was also gore in probably every short too,
It
which
really delivered on its title.
yeah. I
That's
think
why people were being like, "Why it's so gross? There's so much nudity and junk." I'm like, "Yeah, there sure fucking is."
yeah, that's
I don't know. They should have a warning for that stuff at the beginning.
mhm. Well, I know that it's like they have like the rating system on there and stuff like that, but yeah,
It would-
Netflix is venturing down a pretty different path. Well,
Mm.
obviously that's not taking over Netflix or anything like that, but after seeing that and Devilman, and especially with like Castlevania, because Castlevania has its moments too of pretty gory stuff,
Mm.
but like they're going for some hardcore routes, and it's pretty impressive because obviously like almost nothing would have picked up any of that. Like I don't know any like networks that would have picked up. I don't know about Devilman Crybaby because I obviously don't know the
Yeah, I would
Japanese
say-
market.
Yeah,
but
I would say. Well, I mean, Devilman is like, you know, it has its roots in a very iconic
yeah,
early era of anime show that was iconic and weird. So I could see maybe somebody picking that up. I don't think Funimation would have picked that up.
No, they wouldn't have.
But I could have seen, like, I don't know, maybe Sentai Filmworks or High Dive picking it up, like some sort of like one of those studios that still picks up quality animes, but it's kind of those second stringer kind of stuff.
yeah,
But same thing with Castlevania. I feel like if they would have shown another studio Castlevania, like with what they had planned and the art style and everything like that, I think if Netflix hadn't got to it first, I think Funimation would have picked it.
okay.
Like I think but
Well, that's almost
Either
the
that or
crazier
Adult
thing
Swim.
is that
Adult Swim.
yeah,
I think
well, I think
Adult Swim
Adult-
would have picked it up because
Yeah.
Funimation doesn't like nudity or.
I still think they would have dubbed it. Like they still would have done the dubbing. Like
There's actually no
That's-
nudity. I don't think
As
they
someone
just
who's been
haven't
watching nothing but
seen this
Funimation.
too. Sorry.
yeah, nudity. I don't know about that.
I've only seen season 1 of Castlevania, but I don't think there was any nudity in season
Yeah,
1.
I think we saw Alucard shirtless at one point, and that was pretty
Yeah.
fucking amazing. But aside from that, nah, I don't.
I think it
I don't
plays
think there's any
pretty
nudity.
close to the book.
But yeah, no, Sex, Love, and Robots is definitely one of those like shows that like, you know, it's episodic, and obviously every episode has something to do with either sex, love, or robot, or love, death, or robots. God damn it, Allie, you got me doing it. But like every single one of those episodes, I'm like, wow, I don't know if there would be any network that would want to show any of this, which
HBO.
sucks because a lot
Yeah.
of HBO, yeah.
yeah.
But like, which sucks because there are a lot of really good stories. Fucking Zima Blue is fucking amazing.
Blue is fucking amazing. Too bad Stu was on the turdlet.
Yeah. And then we
Hearing
got.
the existential crisis from the other room.
You know.
But yeah, no, there's just a whole bunch of really good short stories in there, and we never would have seen them if
Mm.
Netflix didn't pick that up and go with it.
It's like the same thing as like a similar thing was a horror movie concept called VHS, which was the same thing. It was like it had its roots in getting notoriety from I think the Cannes Film Festival.
Yeah.
But it, you know, it dealt with some some pretty hardcore horror themes.
Mhm.
With some pretty dark situation material that was in there. But like as a horror movie buff, I was like they're fantastic. Like, but it's one of those things that's like there's no way that it would be released in theaters like that. Like there's
Mhm.
but like Netflix picked it up, and granted, they made another one which was decent, and they made a third one which was terrible. But it was one of those things that like the fact that they were even willing to take a chance on that and became one of the most popular horror movies that was on the platform at the time when it was released. Like that's what just getting back to is like if we're all these studios need to be more willing to do that because. Otherwise, I don't know how long they're gonna have left in the next 5 to 10 years.
These studios need to learn how to pull a Microsoft and Nintendo.
Yeah, literally,
Because if there's been any fucking plot twist in the past decade that I did not see
Nintendo
coming,
and Microsoft becoming best buddies.
yeah,
if you would have told me 5 years ago, no, 3 years ago, that Nintendo and Microsoft would be on such good terms that Microsoft would be helping Nintendo publish their exclusive games onto Nintendo's platforms, I would have said you're fucking stupid. Because it wouldn't have it was unfathomable. And now here we are, with Cuphead being one of Xbox's most beloved titles that was exclusive to its platform is now gonna be on the Switch in what? I think it's supposed to come out
this month.
This month, at the end of the month.
Yeah.
The 26th, I think, or something like that. It blows that blows my mind because you would never think that. The only exclusion of that rule that we had was Minecraft, and that was because at first Minecraft wasn't a Microsoft thing.
yeah.
So that that one was was kind of understood that Minecraft was on thing. Minecraft's on your toaster, it's the new I think we said this. You and I were talking about this earlier. It's like Minecraft's the new Doom. It's just it's just on everything.
Play it on whatever you need it. Yeah.
But to see that kind of cooperation, where because that was one of the things that they made a point when they were talking about Cuphead was that Microsoft was the one who wanted to do this. The other the studio that made it was yeah, sure. We always thought about it. But it was Microsoft was the one who came to them and said, "Hey, would you be interested in making a port for the Switch?"
Mm-hmm.
And that speaks volumes. And their social media accounts interact on a regular basis. We've even seen a couple of times where one has retweeted announcements from the other. I don't know about the new CEO for Nintendo, but at least when Reggie was still working at, he was on very good terms with the CEO for Microsoft's entertainment department.
Yeah.
Can't
remember the name of him.
I can't remember his name either right now. I want to say Phil Spencer, but I think that's Sony.
Yeah. It's okay. You were closer than I was. I was thinking Bill Trinan, and I'm like, no, that's still Nintendo. It's still
good try. But
it's someone up there.
But yeah, that's honestly what I would love to see. And you used to see that, you used to see, rather than it being, studios were exclusive to a certain television station, you used to see studios work for multiple networks, we need that. I understand, if it's a little bit of a hurdle, to have Warner Brothers and Nickelodeon Productions work together on something. But if you can have two of your smaller studios work together on something, and and either have it display on both networks or make it for something like Netflix, like a digital platform or something,
yeah, that'd be perfect.
It's a start.
Mm-hmm.
But mostly before we even get to that point,
and we're talking about straight up partnerships. We're not talking about Disney playing a game of Agario over there, fucking.
Yeah, I'm not talking about necessarily full out buying out things. And granted, You know, that's one way to do it, I guess, but it's like I don't think that's necessarily the default that you should be going for, because diversity is also important. And,
Right.
But like that's kind of the thing is we just need to be willing to. They need to be willing to try new things, and when they try new things, let it breathe a little bit. Like, not every single thing that comes out is going to be a hit overnight.
No, for sure.
Some things need time to grow. Honestly, I think that Adventure Time is probably the closest example of something that got big on one of these networks that was kind of like that. So Adventure Time was interesting and it was funny, but it took a while for people to realize, you know, like, oh hey, you know, this thing has there's something
really
there's
good.
something deeper going on here.
Yeah.
And that took probably the better part of a year or two probably before that really sunk in. And that's when you saw the really big boom of like people clamoring for merchandise and clamoring for more
for sure,
information
yeah.
and things like that.
Yeah, no, they've really got to. It's like, I don't know.
That's another thing.
The industry nowadays is really.
That's another thing too. Is that
Patch it
I
up.
feel another reason why so many cartoons that we see now seem so.
Go for it, but we gotta.
I'll move on
roll.
after this.
We gotta roll.
Yeah, I'll move on. After this. I feel that that they seem so watered down is because most of these networks seem to treat the current generation of kids like they're absolutely stupid. Like, because there's so many cartoons that I see now that are that just seem to be mindless in its humor. It's like it's do something stupid because some kids might find it funny, but there's absolutely no substance to it. Like, there's one that I
feel like we got through this like in 2010, but like, fuck, man.
But it's like you still find like there was I can't even remember what it was. I think it's a Disney cartoon. But it's like these two like frog looking kids, and they just do stupid shit. Like the episodes don't really have like they have I guess a plot, but like it's not there's not any real substance to it. It's just a bunch of really poorly done kind of slapstick kind of style stuff that isn't timed properly. It doesn't. It's not situational. It's just dumb. And as someone who enjoys animation and enjoys cartoons and and I'd like to think I'm fairly cultivated on that. I think some younger kids will enjoy it, but like that tween to preteen age, that's looking for something that still likes animated stuff but wants something a little bit more. We're seeing less and less of that.
Yeah, no, I feel like I said. I feel like we've already been through this in the 2010s because that's exactly how I felt going through my teenage days and going on Cartoon Network and seeing shit like, well, first of all, live action shit, which was fucking
so
dumb.
bad. Yeah.
But then like seeing shit like Almost Naked Animals where it's like, all right, thanks for that appeal.
I'm sorry, but it's
okay.
warm in here.
It's all good.
We latched on to anything we had there because like that was like we had Totally Spies, we had Martin Mystery, we had Code Lyoko, we had Teen Titans, like.
Well, we latched on whatever we could because eventually they were gone.
Yeah.
And then they were replaced with really shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, nah,
But yeah, we can move on.
Let's tie that one up because we're getting to the end of the podcast and I wanted to kind of just update on all of us personally along with Lovac.
Sure.
Kind of tying it back into what we were talking about at the beginning about how over the past couple of months, we've definitely been growing, doing our own things, getting better, and like it's the same thing with Lovac as a channel. Like I mentioned before at the very beginning, we're going back into comic dubs and we're getting back into a lot of what we like to do for the channel, so like video games and podcasting. And I mentioned I've been planning on doing Lovac Radio again sometime soon, so hopefully that'll be something fun to look forward to. But just stating right out, like, we used to have a schedule. We plan on going back to that again, which was comic dubs on Wednesday, game nights on Friday, and then Saturday we do a podcast or radio or whatever.
May not be that exact same format going out. We're still
We're still
on that,
tweaking it, but for now that's kind of what the schedule's been. And so I'm just going to kind of hold on to it for a bit while we figure out a new schedule as we go on. And especially nowadays, we're focusing a lot more on comic dubs and trying to get those out. And because that's mainly kind of our bread and butter, what everyone really likes seeing from us. So I wanted to take a hard focus on that. And that's why we've been seeing those a lot more often over the past couple of weeks as opposed to seeing any game nights or anything of that sort. But I also wanted to take this time to talk to everyone and ask, personally what we've all been up to. And, like, if you guys ever want to, like, plug anything that you've been doing or what you plan on doing or just getting a look into us personally in our personal lives, I guess. Because it's been months since we've been on the radio, so figuratively.
True to that.
So, I don't know.
You want to start?
I mean, I've been getting a lot more involved in the voice acting community, which has been a lot of fun. And I've been doing a lot more on my channel. Like, I've been doing, well, Smash Bros. Came out, so it's mostly that right now. But if you want stupid memes, youtube.com/c/Connor Brownlee. That's a place that has memes. But, yeah, no, I've been starting to credit myself there a lot more. And I've been doing a lot more voice work for other people. Been getting involved in castingcallclub.com. Or no, castingcall.club. That's the name of it, but it's still Casting Call Club. And that's actually where we had our own Lovac audition call, casting call. And we actually got a couple more voice actors that you guys are going to be hearing a lot more from in the coming future. And so that's mainly what I've been up to personally, is just editing videos, playing Smash, and this just Lovac behind the scenes work. And then I don't know if we want to go clockwise or counterclockwise, but
Do you guys have anything to say?
I mean, I do.
And go for it.
For me personally, I've been trying to work in the mostly in the, I guess, brainstorming stage of things. Like Connor and I have been discussing a few ideas for some alternative content to the channel, like I was discussing earlier. One of the things I've been trying to do. This is something we tried to start before, but unfortunately it didn't quite go as we intended. But I want to do a D&D podcast for Lovac. I've been learning more about D&D 5th edition, trying to get a campaign start up, and I'm building this campaign mostly from scratch, which is interesting, and I wanted to start sooner than this, but it's probably going to take a lot longer than I initially anticipated, which is fine. But other than that, I've also been doing more stuff outside of Lovac. Been auditioning for some things. I am currently in 2 ongoing projects right now. One of them being a dub for the IDW Sonic the Hedgehog comics that I mentioned earlier. We are in episode 2. It's with Kirakai Dubs, which Stu might be familiar with. He's a mutual friend of ours. I've been mostly doing Foley work, but in episode 2 I do debut at the end as Orbot. And then I don't know the name of the... There's been a bit of a change of hands with this project, so I'm not sure what it's under now. I'll if I can find it under its new name, I'll give Connor a link to put in the description to check it out. But I'm also in an animation project for animating the TF2 or Team Fortress 2 comic, Ring of Fire. where I am currently playing Gray Man, and also will be debuting as another character in the next episode, which I'm not going to say to keep it as a surprise. But I'm pretty excited because it came out fantastic. But other than that, I'm trying to branch out more. I'm trying to voice in more stuff outside of it. Please call me.
I second that.
Mine's been a lot less illustrious. I haven't really been able to do a whole lot in these last couple of months. I've been on an absence from my main YouTube channel, Team Trainwreck. We were doing a huge Transformers comic dub for the IDW More Than Meets the Eye Transformers comics. We made it to episode 2. We finished up episode 2, and then we hit a little bit of a lull. And then I just haven't really been able to bring myself to come back to it for the time being, because I ran into an instance where it's basically like there is a huge amount of workforce on my plate, and there's so many things that are going on in real life that I need to focus my attention on, that it just takes priority over. And so I'm kind of in this spot right now. I do want to continue it, so if there's any people who are listening who are of my followers basically, and they want to get a some kind of update on the status of the project, no, it's not canceled. I do plan on coming back to it, but there's probably going to be some big changes in how we do things around the actual company themselves. I do want to find some people who are dedicated to specifically what's the word I'm thinking of? It's basically somebody who is responsible, who can take care of that responsibility of the team. So somebody on mixing,
Supervisor?
not necessarily a supervisor.
Creative director?
No, I'm talking about more of
Audio engineer?
Just breaking it up into platforms, essentially. So we'll have one person working on audio. We'll have another person collecting audio, because all of our actors, they're in different time zones. So we've got to work around their schedule, and sometimes your time zones don't they just don't line up.
Project manager, I guess, is the best.
No, it's literally just like, I can handle all of that. It's more of an instance of finding people who can take care of the smaller projects to work inside of the company versus somebody to take over the entire thing. Mm-hmm. Like, I still want to headline the project, but at the same time, it's like, I can't handle all the responsibilities that come with that.
You need a staff, is what you're
exactly
looking for.
Yeah, I want a staff. It's really hard to find staff, and I'm not the richest person in the world, so I'd love to offer compensation, but it's just not in the cards right now.
I was gonna say that's like the toughest thing, especially nowadays. Like, especially dealing with Casting Call Club, and I obviously don't want to take away from what you're talking about.
No,
but like,
I get what you're saying.
From my experience, like going on, like if you can't pay people, like it can get pretty tough. Like mostly, like you gotta find like friends or people you're really close to, or someone in their good gracious who wants to do it for free and just be a part of the team. Which, I mean, you have the following like on your channel to possibly do, but yeah, no, especially, like I said, being on Casting Call Club, like, anytime I see any role, because there's not just voice actors up there, but video editors, audio editors, like, you can cast call for anything, essentially. But, yeah, no, unless it's, like, a paid role, especially for audio engineering or video editing, like, those usually go untouched.
Yeah,
especially because I'm one of the guys who does that stuff, and I'm like, I'm not gonna do this for you if I ain't getting money.
No.
Yeah, I think that's another thing of why we're wanting to restructure some things too, is because as much as we love Lovac, and as much as we appreciate that there are other content creators that are willing to let us try. I use this word heavily because it really is try to make revenue off of what we do using their stuff. There's no guarantee that we ever make money off of anything that we monetize, and what we do make is usually very small. And it's the conjunction of all of these small little payoffs that we do get that ultimately end up in buying a new piece of equipment or something like that. But it's a trickle at best.
Yeah.
And non-existent. Usual at usual. So
yeah.
like.
Yeah. But
So.
Oh.
Yeah, but like I think that's one of the big things that we're all, if like I said, if you enjoy our stuff and you're creating a project or you're wanting, you're wanting to do something of a higher caliber and you're willing to actually hire people, reach out to us because we're all looking for it. Like in one form or another, like we're all looking to do something more with what we do here, but we're also trying to still do this because we still care about you guys and we want to make something.
Well, we're all like, we've always been independent artists.
Mm-hmm.
We just came together and we were like, yeah, Lovac.
Mm-hmm.
Homestuck. Happy Homestuck, everybody. But as you were saying with More Than Meets the Eye.
Yeah, sorry. I didn't mean
No, you're good.
Before-
On that note that Justin made, like another thing that I had factored in was the fact that it's like the project that I'm running off of my personal page. It's not funded in any way, shape, or form. It's literally just anything that's supplied to the actors or anything like that. It's out of my own pocket. It's purely a labor of love. We can't really do anything as far as like monetization or anything of that nature, just because due to the fact that it's copyrighted material.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd feel super guilty doing that anyways. So I mean, we're kind of left with the cards that we have in our deck. Touching on, moving over that, some other stuff that I've been doing. I've been working with Ridley, my pet caiman.
That's a crocodile.
Yeah, he's
for
a little
people who don't
crocodile.
know what a caiman is.
Let's talk about
dwarf
you.
Caiman.
You came in.
So a lot of my time has been allocated to his care and his upkeeping. It's been a huge undertaking, but it's been pretty smooth so far. He's gotten a really good personality. At first, he wanted to bite everything that got within 2 inches of his face.
Which was great for everything but food.
yeah. Now he's calmed down a lot. I can literally, scoop him out of his enclosure, no problems. He spends about 2 hours, 3 hours allocated time with me every night. We just kind of let him go wander and do his own thing, and he seems pretty chill. He'll come up to me and no aggression whatsoever. So that's been working out. But a lot of my time has been allocated lately here to that, and then just in real life stuff, like as far as like work and. I mean, every one of us here, we all have separate jobs that we have to actually like perform in order to keep this going.
That's another thing that makes this difficult is that this is not, as much as we would love it to be, content creation is not our primary job.
No.
Wish it was.
Yeah.
So when you see a content creator who is pumping out stuff, bear that in mind, that it's not always that easy. There's always other stuff going on behind the curtain, essentially. And
that's like
we're doing our best. We're trying our best. Just bear with us.
Especially with us, where it's like, you look at our channel and you're like, oh hey, a 30-second comic dub. I'm like, that took like a week to make, my dude. And I lucked out because I had 3 days off. You're welcome.
Yeah, that's essentially the end of what I wanted to touch on.
Yeah, that's a big one. Is that when you just to go off that analogy, like with a 30-second comic dub, there's so much time that gets invested in that, because there's a good, for something at 30 seconds long, there might be something worth of 45 minutes to an hour in the booth, just recording takes, and then there's editing the audio to make sure that it's clean, which, depending on what you're working with, can take a variety of time. There's getting permission from the artist in the first place, which we do for everything that we do, which sometimes can halt an entire project because we never hear from them.
Yeah.
Another thing on that is before any of that, even that ball gets rolling, it's like you still have the mental process of actually breaking down the scene, how it's going to play out. So you're literally directing a scene of your own, and it's
and casting, because even though we have there's the four of us plus a handful of other people who we have, I guess for lack of a better word, on call, we still have to look at everybody who's within the group and saying, do we have somebody that have we casted this character yet? And if we have, is that person available to do that work.
Yeah.
If we don't, do we have somebody within our group that we feel is capable of doing it to some sort of level of success? And if not, do we skip out on this, or do we, in the case of some of the roles that we just hired for, do we put a casting call? Like we did a casting call for Steven Universe when it came out, and like we got a couple of auditions, and we brought in a couple of people into the group, but that was the thing, is that it went nowhere.
Mhm.
Like,
Well, yeah, no, that's what sucks. Is like we did one Steven Universe comic, and that was even before we had any auditions for it.
yeah.
That was me and Kevin going at it.
Yeah, that was literally it, and we informed, because we, like I said, we had, I think went for Greg, and I think Alden, you went for what, Peridot, I think.
Yeah.
And that was really the only, and then we brought in one other person for another role, and that was it. And but
Well,
it never went anywhere because
that's the thing though, is like all the, like, to put this in perspective, all the people that we had for Steven Universe went into other roles.
Mhm.
Like all three of them that we chose for Steven Universe ended up voicing characters for Overwatch comic dubs, which was the hot commodity at the
yeah,
time.
because Overwatch literally came out like what, almost right after.
Yeah.
And so, like, yeah, we looked at it. We had to kind of make a judgment call because both of them were popular, but it was like, what do we have more material for? And Overwatch was had it.
flooding.
And, like, it's like, what do we have the cast for? Overwatch we have the cast for. Like,
Yeah.
And that's where it kind of ended up. And it's like, it's those kinds of things that can, that make it difficult for us sometimes, because we have to look at, what is available to us.
Right.
Because, like, they're going to, like I said, there's still Overwatch stuff that we've got planned to come out, but like that's one of those things, is that, like, Overwatch as far as a fandom is kind of leveling out at this point.
Yeah.
And so there's not.
I'm trying to get all the comics out the door at this point.
There's not much left in terms of people making it that that we can access readily. So it's like, now we have to look at, like, what's big right now. What are people making? Not because we don't want to do other stuff, but it's like we have artists in our group, but, like, we don't have the kind of time or manpower to make completely customized from the ground up content.
Yeah.
Like, we just don't have the resources for that. And so that's one of the things that's a struggle here. But, like, I don't want, like, for anybody who's thinking about doing voiceover or doing any type of content creation in general, don't let that limitation stop you.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I will say that, because, like, that was one of the things for me, is that it's like, I don't know, when I got started doing this kind of stuff, is like, I don't know what I was capable of doing, but you're not gonna know. You're not gonna know what you're capable of until you at least try something. And especially with YouTube, the way that it is right now, is that don't worry about becoming, the next big sensation. Don't worry about becoming the next PewDiePie, the next Markiplier, or the next Jacksepticeye, because that shouldn't be the goal first and foremost. The goal first and foremost is for you to make something.
For sure.
Whether you're making money off of it, whether you're not, like, let that first goal be make something. Like, make something that you're proud of. Even if it takes 2 days or 2 years, just work on it. Because if you don't, because that's one of the things I've in these past couple of years I've been having to teach myself, is that if you sit there and wonder how it will be but never do it, then the only thing you're gonna do is make yourself feel miserable.
Yeah.
Because you're just sitting there wishing what could be, instead of actually doing it.
I agree. And I'm sorry, your tangent timer's up. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I'm bad about that. I'm sorry.
I'm gonna start implementing this a lot more, but I was hoping to start like a tangent
get
timer
over
of some
ahead.
sort to be like, okay, we got we got 5 solid minutes. But no, like, don't get me wrong though, I would love to get into that a lot more too, and I would love to talk more about me of all people. I would love to talk about the comic dub process and what it takes to build all this stuff. But yeah, no, we're wrapping up here, and I don't know if Allie, if you'd like to touch up on what you've been up to.
I don't do anything.
I wouldn't say that much. You've been in the modding community lately.
Okay, destroying Nintendo's hard work is not a thing to be proud of.
Not just Nintendo. You got
No, but it's
Stardew
funny.
and Bethesda
I
is
said
not
no,
so.
but it's funny.
You got Nintendo. You got
Stardew Valley has
Stardew.
been fun.
And then you've been destroying Bethesda's not so hard work.
No, Bethesda destroyed me. I actually can't open my Fallout game, so
Oh shit.
that one's a back burner, if not in the trash. Todd got me, you guys. He got me good. It just works, he said.
I know you've been drawing a little bit more too, but not quite as frequently, but you still draw. You uploaded the recent stuff to Allie B's, right?
No. I didn't.
You didn't?
No.
Where'd you upload that?
Up your butt. It's called Nowheresville. I don't know.
I thought
Facebook
probably
mostly,
Facebook.
so my
yeah.
grandma can put it on the refrigerator. And
Yeah, no, I don't know. It's been interesting because I
don't know,
like watch
Justin
you
over
like
here being like, just create something, and I'm like, fuck you, man.
No, hey, you building, those custom sprites for Stardew Valley. That's still making something.
I guess.
It is.
I can't share it though. That's the only problem.
Well, I mean that's fine, but like it doesn't have to be public. Like that's what I'm saying is having like the reason for creating something shouldn't be making money off of it. Like it should be.
Oh no, I don't want money.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Well, that's what I'm saying is that like I see a lot of people a lot of times when they talk about YouTube, it's like they think about it as, well, what will I get out of it? Like what's the sponsorship deal I can get? What's the money that I'll make off of it? But it's like that anybody who I will say almost anybody who got big off of YouTube will tell you that it was never the money or the fame was never the original intent.
Mhm.
It was the idea of creating something and sharing it with
Did you
the
see a
world.
spoiler? Or?
No, I'm at 1%.
Oh, okay.
Uh-oh.
But yeah, so I don't know. You've been a part of the modding community from what I've seen, and that's really exciting. But
I don't know. I don't know.
I think it's exciting. Like I see you all the time, like talking with like Zelda modders and being in Stardew Valley servers.
I don't really do the coding part though. I just do the art part, and then.
Still counts.
eh,
I mean, that's the thing. You're an artiste.
shrug.
No, not to mention we've been talking about like, you turning your channel into like, I don't know, Mod Central, Mod City.
What?
I don't know, like playing. Well, okay, I forgot you also mod Minecraft, which is a whole nother basket of fruits.
Yeah, that was fun for a while, but the coding is so fucking hard that I was like, I started making a couple custom NPCs and I was like, never fucking mind.
I was gonna say you did make some crazy fucking NPCs though.
What?
Like you got a guy who did a fetch quest daily for you. Like that's fucking crazy.
I did like that guy. I almost got them to wander around the town guarding it, but they would get distracted by a zombie and then just kind of stand
Just
there
never-
after killing it.
Oh, well, shit.
And I'm like, you have to go back
If-
eventually.
yeah. That's been basically it as far. I hate to like hard turn, but I don't know how to communicate with people. But yeah, that's been pretty much what we've all been up to lately. We live lives outside of Lovac, and it's fucking crazy.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, like I mentioned, I don't know why I'm okay. That's like the inside of the padding of the
Yeah.
It's
not a great pop filter.
condenser. Yeah, the pop filter, the mop filter. But yeah, so that's been the Lovac podcast. And
No, I'm sorry. Lovac snack time is over.
Oh, Lovac snack time is
Yeah,
over.
now it's
Everybody,
time to go back nap time.
yeah. Everybody, get your blankets. Go ahead and go over to the beds.